Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sequester Mini. If you are noticing a lag, that's not just your imagination. I absolutely am lagging, but that's totally fine because, you know, you're not here to see me talk. You're here to see our guests talk. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. We're going to get into the discussion for the special themed Christmas in July Sequester Mini last night, in which Alex B was crowned the winner by unanimous vote 7-0. So we'll get into it. We're going to bring in everyone we have today. We have about 18 or so players, I believe. So there is a lot. As always, StreamYard does cap us out at 10 people. So we have a nice chunk of 9 people to start out the show. As people are eliminated, we'll send them on their merry way. We'll bring in the next few people waiting. There likely are people in the audience right now who will be on in the show later. So be sure to welcome them. Just to address this, I was not on the commentary last night, but Santa Claus was, and boy, do we have beef. So if I ever see him, it's going to be a real shit show. I just want to say that. But that's, you know, I don't want to bring my drama into this. It's not about me, as I said. It's about these fine players. So let's not wait. Let's bring them in no particular order. I'm just going to start adding them into the stream. We're going to get into the discussion, and man, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. All right, so let's get into it. We have Bo, Miguel, Alan, Jordan, Brendan O, James, Renee, Tyra, and our winner, Alex, joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning,
guys. Hey, everyone.
Fantastic job last night, everyone. I don't know how much or little you all spent watching the commentary back or reading through the YouTube chats or Twitter or anything like that, but largely, it was viewed as a really great mini. So you all should be very proud of yourselves for the part you played in it. It was very entertaining from start to finish. There were lots of really great moments of gameplay. There were lots of moments of boring gameplay. You know, it had a healthy mix of everything, and as well as some new challenges. You know, we introduced a lot more safety opportunities last night that we don't typically see in minis. So yeah, Alex is yeah, so we'll get into all of that. I do have a chart made by, let me show the banner here, Lone Ranger 158. I will be using a chart that they made. We don't have a voting chart for this mini, unfortunately, so we don't have an exact black and white record of who voted for who or what LOS was used when. So that's where we're going to need you guys to fill in, you know, those gaps. So thank you for joining us here for that. We can kind of put some pieces together for our audience, and hopefully we have a great time. I don't know. I think it's going to be good. Now, what I want to get into is I want to know, what is everyone's experience with Sequester? Are you all familiar with the live game or mainly just the minis? And if so, what got you into it? I know some of you are returners. I think of the people we have right now, only Renee and Alan are returners. Is that right? Is anyone else a returnee? No, I know, Alex, you lied about playing before. But okay, yeah. So we have Renee, of course, who runs Draft Sequester. We're a big fan of Draft Sequester here in Sequester Mini. So if you're not familiar, at Draft Sequester on Twitter, it's a great way to participate in a draft for the minis. A lot of fun. And I believe, Renee, you do your own private mini for the top 20 people on the leaderboard every month. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I've been doing. So I put together all the minis that I'm doing, the drafts that I'm doing, the top 20 scorers cumulatively, they win their way into their own private mini, and they get to duke it out. So really put to the test of are you better to win or are you better drafting? So that's what we're doing.
Shout out
really
to Nick D.
over there.
So yeah, be sure to give Draft Sequester a follow. Be sure to participate. Do you know if Draft Sequester is doing anything for the international private today?
No, because I'm here. It's a one-man show, basically. Okay. So, but I think we're doing tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow, I think, is the last hurrah one, and so I think I'll be doing that one because we didn't do today, obviously yesterday or today. So.
Well, fantastic. Sorry to the international players. Suck it. I don't know. But for the people playing tomorrow, hell yeah, it looks like we might have a draft. That's great. Thank you, Renee. Alan, I know that you played in the mini that Josh Williams won a few months ago. That was one of the first minis that I watched. You two had a very memorable final two. where you both were, I think, pretty intoxicated. You both were stripping, taking off your shirts. It was a lot of fun. It was very memorable. Do you happen to remember the date on that, Alan?
It was April 4th.
April 4th. So if there is an archive of April 4th mini, well, then that's maybe for the best, Alan. I don't know. But if you find any clips or recordings, you can go back and check out snippets of that. Unfortunately, it will only live on in our memories as of now, it seems. But everyone, like I said, I want to get into it. What besides Alan, besides Renee, what is everyone's experience with Sequester? Tyra, you want to kick us off? What's your experience?
Sure. So I started off with Sequester. I found the BB Can versus BB US, so I'm kind of new to the game, and I fell in love because I'm a Big Brother fan. All the seasons, I'm obsessed with the show, and then I got invested and I started watching all the live seasons, and they had it on YouTube, and I was like, "Whoa, this is genius!" And Audrey is like a genius to create this whole thing. So after that, I started watching different minis, and then I joined the Patreon. And then I'm here. So this kind of was fast. I want to say this started, the BB Can BB US game was recently. So maybe like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Yeah.
It was, the minis have only been going on for a short time. I know in a week in Sequester almost feels like a month, but the minis have only been happening for about 3 or so months. They're still relatively new. So even Alan, who maybe would be in a mini that's considered long ago, only a few short months ago, so something to keep in mind. I think Tyra, a lot of people have a similar experience where like the RHAP mini brought in like a big sweep of people who ended up staying in the community. Did everyone else? I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads. Yes. Anyone else feel that way? Alex? Yeah. Anyone else? You all can chime in. By the way, it's not just like pointing an answer. So feel free to discuss.
I had seen the live show, and I loved the live show, so I didn't know that these minis were happening. So it was probably the RHAP one that was the first one I heard of and started paying attention, and that was what got me, and I've been hooked ever since.
Same
for me.
I actually heard about it from one of my best friends, Jarel, who actually played last week. And honestly, it's been such an amazing ride because I heard about it like 2 weeks ago, starting to watch the Big Brother because I love Big Brother, and I have been watching a lot of minis and getting to know the game. So when I got in, I knew it was game on, and I had to study the game a lot more.
I actually had an audition video for Big Brother floating around on YouTube, and Audrey found that a few years back, and she contacted me back in the .0 days, and she had me go through the whole audition process, and I made like a video, and she said I was in the cast, and then last second I got dropped from the cast. And I was pretty bummed about that for a while, so I didn't watch any of the live shows, and I didn't really get into the minis until US versus International Survivor. And then I was like, oh my God, like, why have I been so bitter? This is amazing. So I became a patron and came back.
Yeah, that was fun.
So now let's kind of get into more of the intro videos. So before the game officially starts, all of the players are instructed to create a 30 to 60 second, I think typically 30 to 45 second video summarizing their essence and the type of character that they would like to portray to their fellow players, to the audience. This is a great time to make some threats, Alex, in Alex's case, or make some jokes that go over people's heads sometimes. Definitely a good opportunity to show your personality or not show your personality in some people's cases. Let's get into it. So, Alex, I know that people kind of had a strong opinion about your intro video. Do you have any thoughts to offer on that?
Yeah, I knew sending it was probably a bit of a risk, but I'm always one who puts a joke above everything else. So I thought it was hilarious, and once I made it, I was like, "There's no way I'm not sending this." But then when I was watching everyone else's intro videos and they were super informative and personal, I was like, "Oh, I don't even know I mentioned where I live in mine. Mine's all just a joke." And it's not a joke that paints me in a good light. So I knew there was a bit of a risk with my video, but once I saw everyone else's, I went into panic mode a little bit. It was not a smart idea.
Is that a fair assessment? Did all of you kind of have that reaction to Alex's video? Was it a little grainy?
Pretty much. I wrote. Can you see this? I wrote villain.
Yeah, I wrote villain too.
Why wouldn't? Yeah, that would be the note I would take from it. Yeah, and once I realized that was how I was assessing people's videos with like one word note, I was like, oh, everyone's just gonna write villain, Alex. Oh my god.
I wrote gamer.
Yeah, same thing. Just a nice way villain.
I didn't write anything down about what you said.
I
I think I just had notes on like every single piece of clothing. Like I had no idea. I didn't pay attention to the videos at all. Everyone was like, I want to vote this person out because they were boring. I was like, well, they were wearing a black shirt with a piece of jewelry. Like, I had no idea what happened.
My intro video was actually a blooper. So I sent the wrong video.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I screamed at the end, which was so weird, but and I wanted to bring awareness to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome because it is very unknown. And yeah, it was a very me intro, so I was really happy with it.
Yeah, everyone's intro was great, I felt like, except for mine. I lost focus when I realized everyone's was such a nice intro. It's like, oh, I'm gonna look like a jackass.
Alex, we were sort of talking about this before the podcast, but I think it's sort of worked in your favor a lot of times to sort of have a target on your back at the beginning. And I was sort of like trying to make a list as I was playing, obviously not very far, of like the things that I'd done in the game. And it's so much harder if you don't have a target on your back to like say that you got a target off your back. So maybe in some ways it was a good thing to come in with kind of a scary intro.
Yeah, what he's referencing before the podcast we were talking, I mentioned I made a lot of mistakes throughout the game. I won like in spite of myself. And so, but those mistakes actually propelled me into, like he said, like I became such a threat, it almost became invisible for part of the game, that people were like, we can get him out whenever. And it worked in my favor.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I knew you were going to get out at one point. So
that's what everyone wanted. Myself included. Myself included. That's what everyone
And you kept popping up in the rooms like just you were everywhere, which was a good thing. Because you kept in my mind, you was like, I'm a target. This is the name. And I'm like, okay, we'll get him later. But I was
watching you. I was like, I'm trying to listen to what Alex has to say because I know that he's trying to control things and get things off his back. So I need to watch where he is and what he's saying and what he's doing.
Right. There was one point where you left and I forgot who it was. It was me and two other people. And then I was like, we need to get Agsby out. He's too smart. He gotta go. And then you came back and switched my mind.
That's good.
Yeah, good game.
And I think you're lucky because I think in another game that intro video easily could have been a first boot. And that was kind of what I thought at first. I'm like, oh, he's a first boot.
There were several comments in the chat that were saying first boot, Alex, by Alex.
Yeah, surprised me.
But Alex did a good job because we were in a room together with, was it 5 or 4 for initial room, Alex?
It was 5 of us. It was you, me, Brittany, John, and Mike.
Exactly. And so we basically were like, oh, let's stick together. And our first reason why we got out people was saying who had like a whack video. And that kind of helped us out. We didn't say like the villain in the video, so that helped Alex as well. And we stayed strong to that first round.
100%.
Yeah.
I was good to room 5 until John had to go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I voted for John. I felt bad. I told him
I didn't vote for John.
I did.
That was so random. That was a very random.
I thought it would be, once again.
Before we get into the round discussion.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're totally good. You're totally good. Any other final thoughts on intro videos or the setup getting into the game? Renee, yes, please.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I didn't mention that I was a returner in my intro video purposely. I had no intention of lying about it if someone knew, but I wasn't going to bring that up either. Especially with the All-Stars on Friday, I thought that it could make me a bigger target on Saturday if they had returners. So I was very worried about that. That was my biggest fear coming in. So I didn't want to bring it up. But then Audrey's intro, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be good. I played long enough ago. And then Audrey's intro video was like, and I loved the 5.8 mini, and that was my original one. And I was just like, oh no. She never mentioned anything to me about it. Luckily, I was out too early. Maybe she didn't remember me, but that was my fear with it.
I was actually a last minute add-in. I had like 4 hours before the game started that I was like told that I was in. So my mind was like, yeah, my mind was like happy. I got in excitement, and I didn't have like time to process it, and then I was like thrust into it, and I was like, okay, yeah. So that's
Lorenzo,
how I
Keith,
got
and
it.
I almost didn't make it in the game,
Wow.
and we were all in the same room.
So let's go ahead and dive into the actual gameplay. Now, this game started out, I believe we had 22 players to start instead of the typical 20. As I said earlier, with this game came a lot more opportunities for safety than most players see in most games, which was very beneficial to some players and obviously detrimental to some others. Now, these competitions, they started out where they would play a video clip. You would have to remember specific details from the clip, and then that same video clip was used like a couple times rounds later to again recall from to get safety. And then of course there was the 12 Days of Christmas poem that later came on, lots of memory-based comps like that. This first round, it was like looking out for safety. We had people who were safe, and the first round unfortunately resulted in Alex G being eliminated. The people who were safe this first round, it looks like we had Alex B, Miguel, Brendan F, Brittany, and Lorenzo. Those were our safe players going into the round. So with those people out of the question, off the block, you don't have those as an option. How did we arrive at Alex G being the one who was eliminated?
Our room said it would be easy if we didn't have an Alex G and an Alex B in the game.
Absolutely.
That's so bad. That's so true. It
benefited Alex too. Alex B.
It was crucial for my game. Alex B and Alex G sound similar too. You can mistake those.
Exactly.
But it was risky because what if people accidentally put in Alex B?
I was safe that round.
Oh yeah,
and that was why I was like, let's get him out of here. That works great for me.
Right, you're right.
It's funny to hear talk about you being worried about your video, Alex, because from what I heard, it was Alex's video, which is what got him voted out.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank God. All the other people are like, yeah, that Alex had a terrible video. And
I honestly wonder how much of that is cross chatter with mixing up Alex's.
It's totally possible
about that one.
I believe it. Alex B and Alex G, they sound real similar. So that was part of the reason our room decided. So anytime I heard the name, I brought up that reason. I was like, better to not be confused.
It's tough because with these types of games and how often we do them, how big the crowd are, if you have a more common name, a very common name, it sometimes gets tough. We've seen it before. There was a game a week or so ago where there were two Emilys, I believe, and one Emily targeted the other Emily because of the exact same reason. That Emily was allowed to nominate people, and she nominated the other Emily. Well, so this definitely can be dicey. I myself, when I joined, it was shortly after the RJP Mini, in which a Tyler had already played. So instead of going by my first name, Tyler, I went by my initials, which I've since now done in the community since. We had Jacob Sparks, one of our Podquester correspondents who played a week ago, who went by Sparks instead of Jacob. So it's something to consider. If you have a common name, it might behoove you to think of something else, just so you can't necessarily have that used against you. As we've seen time and time again in Patron Minis, people are looking for the easiest excuse to vote someone out. If it's not an intro video, it could be as arbitrary as a name. Yeah. So it's part of the meta. It's something you got to take into consideration. Alex G, of course, was sadly, taken from us too soon, first round. And Alex then was able to put his naughty list up for round 2. The people on that list who would be up as flops for elimination were Brian, Mike, Phil, Jordan, Alan, and Keith. And this was where Keith was eliminated. Now, this was also the night of, it seemed, a lot of tech issues. We noticed quite a few people experiencing lagging, choppiness, freezing, and Keith was no different. He was freezing a lot of rooms. I believe when he started out in his room in the first round, when I clicked to watch it, everyone else in the room was trying to discuss a name, and he kept having to detract the conversation to be like, "Huh? I can't hear you guys. What?"
That's always a bummer.
Yeah, so it's tough, in rounds where you do not have a lot of time. It's not like a Big Brother or Survivor or even a live Sequester season where a round gets you at least 30 minutes. you only get sometimes 5 to 10, maybe 15 if you're really lucky. I think in this round it was kind of short, maybe around like 8 minutes or so, 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah,
so that is crucial time you're losing. How did we decide out of all those people, Alan, Jordan, Keith, Phil, Mike, and who was the other person? Brian, how did we decide on Keith? Why was Keith the one who ended up biting the dust there? Any thoughts?
I remember why I voted for him, and it was strictly because I heard Alan's name first from a lot of people, and I was like, well, that would be an easier target later. So as soon as Keith came up, it was another, I'm going to roll with this and hope. And I couldn't believe when Keith went out because I had heard Alan a lot, and a lot of my game was keeping people that were targets as well for the obvious reason. And so if it was a not obvious name that was going home, I was all for that. So Alan being the obvious target, I wanted to keep him.
So why was I the obvious target?
I couldn't tell you. I just heard your name almost every room I went to, and I was like, I don't want there to be like a consensus vote. That's
Alan.
Then I'm going to be the
obvious
consensus
target, but it's not obvious why.
Yeah. I just that was the only name I really remember hearing that round till the end.
Sad.
Jordan and Brian were in my room. Jordan and Brian were in my room, so whatever I heard, I was like, I'm going to spread it because I don't want it to be Jordan or Brian.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And Alan had come into a room with me, and I think that is the first time I had talked to him, but I liked him, because I had heard his name before, and then I had a good vibe, and then someone else came in after, and it was like Keith, because I, again, wasn't doing Jordan or Brian either, and then it seemed like that latched in. This time came up, Keith, and that seemed to work.
If I ever got like Renee and the other returners alone, I wanted to like be like, let's work together, but that never happened. Sadly.
Yeah.
I know.
Were there other returners in the game besides you two that aren't here? Do you know?
Kelly,
Kelly.
Brittany and Kelly. Kelly actually, it was brought up by Renee later on in the game when you needed to. I thought it was a good moment when you kind of pulled that out, Renee. That Kelly had actually won a mini just a week or so prior. She played in a private mini for
Doesn't surprise me though.
I believe RHAP patrons.
Yeah.
And she was the winner, which a lot of people did not know until Renee pulled it out.
Well, I had organized that mini, so I obviously knew that, and then Phil had played in it. Phil and Kelly had played in that together, and I didn't play. I had just organized, so I knew that they were playing. They had just mentioned it, no pre-gaming. They just mentioned they were playing. I didn't say I was playing, but I knew if I needed to bring out that information, I would bring it out, and then I needed to, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
And Brian, I think that was his name, played in my mini too back in April.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait.
It's okay. According to Brian, that's the obvious reason why you're voted out. I don't know.
When you have a target, I mean,
Why wouldn't you want to see that?
I don't know. I don't get it. Now, Keith, so sad. Keith could not join us today.
Yeah.
But Keith did send in a video statement that he wanted to play. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. Let's see here. Oh, hold on. Actually, I might need to undo that because I don't think I shared the audio. So give me just 1 second here. This is live TV at its finest, people. Okay. Here we go. There we are. All right. Video message from Keith.
Hey everyone, it's me, Keith, from last night's mini. You may remember me or not. That's okay. Now it's over. Just want to quickly say hi, everyone. Quickly talk about my game, which there was no game. There was nothing. 30 minutes in, I was fine, and then it just went downhill from there. I opened up the link to the YouTube stream, and my computer was laggy and everything. And then when I tried to vote, it wouldn't let me type. It was just not a good day in Techland. Yeah, I didn't even know about the first round twist. I thought they were voting on the prettiest people or something like that. And yeah, I just didn't. It just wasn't in my cards, and it was very frustrating. And I apologize if y'all saw my panic attack because I really was really excited about this opportunity. I didn't want to fuck it up, and it was just my emotions got to me over something that I had little control in.
We have a part 2 right here.
I have very limited time.
Come on,
So,
part
but yeah, hopefully I get to play again with better internet or computer and such, because I really want to actually show my potential and everything, and not just me lagging and crying behind the scenes. Thank you again, Audrey, or the algo, or the Plinko machine that decides everything. I'm very grateful to be a part of this community and actually have the opportunity to play the games. I just feel like I'm part of something. That's something I always wanted to be, just be part of a group and not feel left out. Big advice to those who are trying, keep trying. I know it's hard and cliche, but having a good support system and such get you along the way. But yeah, so follow me on Twitter. I'm Keith DeMaze. So you can see more stuff. Here's Phoebe, by the way, who didn't make her appearance. And yeah, so I'm gonna pretend that everyone voted me out because I was like the prettiest or the master manipulator, like that. But, bye.
Oh, Keith.
Nice. Beauty.
Thank you, Keith. Make sure
You did the best.
follow, check out Keith, keep in touch, and hopefully, Keith, if you're watching this, that we get to see you play again. You never know. Plenty of people have gone out really early in the game and gone on to sequester greatness, so that very well could be you. Thank you again, Keith, for sending that video in. Now, any thoughts before I move on Keith or that video?
I didn't vote for Keith.
Keith is amazing.
I didn't
vote for Keith either.
I didn't vote for Keith either.
I was trying to say that.
I voted for Keith. I voted for Keith too.
It was because you were the prettiest. You were right.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was my,
So thank you once again, Keith, and hopefully we see you play in a mini soon. Now, after Keith was eliminated, Alan, this might be very hard for you to hear, but we move on to round 3 where you, my friend, were eliminated. This was the second safety challenge, and the people who ended up being safe from elimination were Brendan O, Jordan, we had Jingle Max, Matt, Kelly, and Brendan F. And sadly, Alan, for obvious reasons, you ended up going. Does anyone want to touch on those obvious reasons? Why did we land on Alan as opposed to all of the other players that we could have voted out here?
In my room, I think no one really knew Alan or had interacted
To be honest,
with Alan. Yeah. And that was the main reason. We were like, oh, we don't know Alan. Let's just vote for him.
Yeah, Alan, I don't know if you were like hiding in one room or if we just never crossed paths, but I voted for you because I literally didn't see you in the game at all. So
me
sorry.
either.
Yeah.
Same.
I think his name was thrown out just because the prior
it was there
round
before.
between Keith and Alan, it was just like a.
It felt like it had
A
momentum, and I was getting really nervous because our room was just going left and right, and I was trying to save our room. I'm not sure if everyone from our original room was trying to save our room. Right. I don't think so. But I couldn't save you. I voted for you too, because every single room I went into, the name was Alan.
Yeah, you brought that up in the room too.
Yeah.
Brendan said, I want to say something. Sorry, Renee, go ahead.
No, I think that's where I went to, is because your name had been out there the last round, and it was something I knew could easily get traction. It wasn't my name, and so that was why. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so hard being one of the first 6 nominated after the first round. It's just hard to bounce back from that, and I don't really know if there's any strategy to I don't know, to not have your name out there anymore.
I don't know. Ask Alex, I guess.
I never successfully got my name back out of people's mouths. It was just I was able to ride with it always in people's mouths. So I don't know there is a way to shake a target once you have it, but you can lean into it. That's one.
The only thing that I could possibly offer Alan or to anyone watching who is wondering how to shake a target is if you find yourself being the target, being the name that's up the first few rounds, you really need to do the due diligence of bouncing around and covering as much ground as possible. I think what we found in this room at the top of the round, there was like a big room limit in your room, Alan, where you and a bunch of the others just kind of sat and froze in the room limit for about a solid minute or so, which again, when we discussed the fact that these rounds have very crucial moments of gameplay and not a lot of time, that minute very well could be a third of the round, So if you're sacrificing your ability to cover ground and touch base with people, even if your name is the target, when you confront people, when you get face to face with them and you can see that they're avoiding your eye contact or that they're putting you in a position where they have to lie to you, that's ammunition you can use against them later. There's deals that could be made to put out targets, because while your name may be going around, at this point there's like 15 other people that very well could be on the chopping block. So that's the only possible thing I could maybe offer up. It is tough, especially we see it a lot when your name goes around. In those early rounds, people want the easy vote, and sometimes that means, oh, this is the name we've heard last round. Oh, this is the name we heard 2 rounds ago. So unless you're going around and you're taking your name out of people's mouths actively, sometimes you can just fall a victim to that easy vote.
And say a name. I think some people who are on the chopping block, and Alan, I don't know if it's necessarily you, are like, don't vote for me. Tell me who you want me to vote for then. Don't be afraid to give a name. I know people, and again, I don't know if this is you, Alan, but people in general are scared to then throw out a name because they don't want to be a target of that person. But people just need a name. So give a name, yell it out, do what you got to do to save yourself.
Your life is on the line. So yeah, you should definitely do that.
I was pushing Mike because Mike was just like chilling in room 2. Yeah. So I'm like, I thought I was bouncing around, and he was literally just in room 2 a lot. But I don't think I ran into most of you here, sadly.
And that is unfortunate, Alan, because a lot of these rounds with so many people voting, a lot of times there is a disconnect where people get mixed messages on who's being voted where, and a room this size or a group this size, even if it's not necessarily all the players in the game or maybe necessarily the majority in the game, it can be the majority vote that gets you out. So it's pretty tough.
And this is where Jingle Max, he came into room 5 and I was in the room and he was like, yeah, we're doing Alan. And I was like, thanks.
Infamous moments.
And see, I would have blown that up. I would have been like, there's no reason to get rid of me. I don't know if that's what you're actually doing, blah, blah, blah. But like they were saying, you got to bounce around. You got to make your face name, get a different target out there. If someone had said my name to me, you don't let that stand.
I completely forgot that happened. That was so funny.
That's pretty funny. I wish I would have seen
that. Did it happen again?
It was me, Alan, and Matt.
Yeah, it happened again too.
It did happen again with Matt and
yeah, I was in the room. It was Phil.
It was Matt and Phil. Yeah. It was Phil.
That was hilarious.
That was so great.
I was like, Phil is right there.
I didn't know what to say. That was the only thing to say. I was like, I couldn't believe he said that. And then he said it again. He was like, yeah, I've heard Phil's name a few times. I'm like, stop saying that.
Phil was so smart. Phil was like, what'd you say, Matt? Matt was like, Phil, I want you out.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. That was funny.
Alan, any final thoughts on the game? I will say personally, having watched you in your last game, I was really rooting for you to go far. I found you very fun and entertaining the last time you played. Not that you weren't this time, of course, but obviously you didn't get much time to be as fun and entertaining as some of the people who then went on to the later parts of the game. But do you have any final thoughts on the mini, on this mini, on minis in general? Are you planning on playing again? Please tell us.
So the first mini I was wasted the whole time, and I think that's why I did so well. So I would just recommend everybody to get really drunk next time appropriately. So I tried to be more sober this time, and I think that was my downfall. Yeah, I'm okay with not doing as well this time since I did well last time, and I'm okay with it. But I'll play again if I get the opportunity to. I was grateful to play this time, so I'll be grateful to play again. And make sure to vote in November and talk to your friends about voting and family about voting. So it is important to do that. So
and
that's
very important. Fantastic note to go out on. Thank you, Alan. And I hope it doesn't take as long to see you play again. As I said, a week in Sequester feels like a month. So with the gap from your last mini to this one, it's been like 4 years, Alan.
I know. I'll see y'all again soon.
We'll see you real soon, Alan. Be sure to follow Alan on Twitter down below. Show him some love. And we'll see you in the next one, Alan.
Thank you, TR. Thank you, everybody.
Alan.
Alan.
Well, after Alan sadly left the game, we moved on to round 4, which was our safety roulette round. And of course, this is the round where players are instructed to take a minute to find a room, get into it. After the minute is over, whoever's in the room, provided there's no room limit happening, of course, will be planted there. And then all of the room numbers will be added to a roulette wheel that Audrey spins. One by one, rooms will get safety until one room is left. This resulted in Alex B, Miguel, Tyra, Jingle Max, and Brendan O, and Bo in being nominated. And Bo, this is where you left. Typically, a lot of times with safety roulette, the audience knows, the commentators know. Yep. The easy vote here is who leaves the room first. So there was a room. I believe there was a room limit almost immediately with you all, and someone had to go, and you were the one who took that on. And of course, as we see time and time again, after you left, everyone was like, "Let's do Bo. Let's just do Bo." Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on else?
That was not the full story, though.
Alex. That is not the full story.
Let's get to the bottom of it.
I was locked eyes with Miguel. Like, we are staying in this room.
I wasn't.
And I came back because I knew you guys were doing that.
Alex.
So it was one step further. Normally, the target would have been Bo, but then he left, and I instantly was like, "Okay, so we're doing Bo, right? Okay, bye," and left as well.
Too quickly.
I'm sure everyone stayed in the room and was like,
"We stayed,
right?"
We stayed.
Well, you
loved it. Wait, we're not doing Bo, right? Let's do Alex.
And I think that's why I left, because I had faith in both and Miguel, Brendan O, Tyra, and Jingle Max. Like going in, I was like, this is like the 4 people I want to like stick with. So then when Alex came in, I was like, nobody's gonna leave. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll leave. And then I risked it, and after I did it, I was like, oh crap.
Well,
I knew for a fact that Alex was gonna push me.
I don't think Bo made the wrong move here, though. I guess he was the victim of the LOS. If someone else had left first, they would have been.
Yeah.
But he did everything right. If the votes had gone through normally, I'm out and Bo's in. Luckily, I found that LOS. I was telling them before the game, I knew I was going to be in trouble. I camped out on that YouTube stream looking for that LOS. I was barely paying attention to some conversations because I knew I was going to need it, and this is the exact time that it came in handy.
As a couple of people have pointed out in the chat, this was where Renee, unfortunately, you were by yourself in a room.
I was
It came down to your room and the room who ended up being nominated, and you were probably this close to being immediately eliminated. Before we continue in the conversation, we do have Phil joining us, so let's welcome Phil.
Hey,
Phil.
Welcome.
Hey guys. Thank you. Nice to join you guys.
Phil, any thoughts on the roulette round or anything we've discussed so far?
So the roulette round was the round that I was the most scared, because that's the round I went out on in my first game. So, and I was in a room with one other person in that game. So when that came up, there was 3 people in my room in room 2 when the roulette wheel came up. And so I was like, my issue last time was everybody just jumped as soon as the round started on room roulette. So I was immediately like, guys, nobody move. People will come to us. Do not move because we might get trapped out. And so luckily we ended up with 6 people in there, and I would have been okay either way. But it was terrifying at the beginning of that because I was just like, I'm having major PTSD from 2 weeks ago.
That's what I did in the beginning. I think I started in a room with like Jordan and Brian and maybe Alex and Brittany. Yep. And I was like, I do not want to be in this room because if we are up, I like all of you guys.
Right.
So
I like that moment where like, I had that moment where it's like, this is a great 6. And then, someone was like, wait, I don't want to vote anyone out. And then we all like scattered immediately.
And then we got into another room, and Renee came in, and you were the 7th person. And I was like, I really hope she finds a room. And then you ended up alone. And I was like, oh gosh.
It was terrifying. But
that was terrifying.
Renee, you saved me that round.
Because she gave me the heads up.
Her and Audrey. Audrey legit said, if you have an LOS, play it. And I was like, damn, good thing I do. Oh, sorry. If it was one of you two. You guys saved me, though. You were pushing like, you're in trouble this round.
Yeah, and it's sad because I really liked Bo, and I but I felt better about Alex being a target, so that's why I wanted to keep Alex around. And honestly, legitimately, I didn't know you had the LOS. I was kind of saying it where I was like, well, if he has one, play it, but if you don't, you go. Okay, you know. Like maybe
it was a good move.
It would have worked better if it was only our room. I feel like they came up with it, but every other room had also thought of Alex, and then everyone found out, and then you found out.
Yeah, because you were really aggressive at that point, Alex. Yeah. And when you came in and said, "Okay, let's get Bo," whatever, we were like, we really couldn't do it. And then at that moment, I the second she said the voting is done, I said Alex has an LOS. I knew it. I just had a feeling because I was like, he's too smart for that. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Alex, you came in, you were like, Bo, he left our room first. He's got to go. And then you bounced. I was like, okay. And then Bo came in right after. And he was like, yeah, I left first. But then the rest of us were like, we got to get out Alex. And I was like, yep, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the round, you came back in. And that's what it was like, killed a little bit more. At least you gave that impression off. So I was like, okay, dude, just like play your LOS. Like,
yeah, I don't think I was chilled at any point in the game, more so than, but I was just running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
You were, you definitely were.
Someone said it earlier. I do see a lot of benefit that I was popping in. I was in a lot of conversations, even just for a short amount of time. I think it was good to get my face in front of people and let them know what I was doing.
And you didn't take a break. And the good thing is when you came in the room, you made it seem like like the majority said a name. So you were like, everyone's doing this. And I was like, okay, do you want to go against the majority? Unless you were like in a solid room and you know your votes were going to stick, most of the time you would probably go with that in the earlier rounds.
Yeah. I was down for any name that wasn't mine.
Yeah. And you said that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that several times.
Definitely.
Although I was trying to keep people that had targets on them. A lot of people in this chat right here had targets on them. So I wasn't trying to guide votes, but if people whose names were out there besides mine stayed, that was a very good thing in my book. So I wasn't trying to like guide votes, but I was trying to make sure if I could, to whatever ability, people stayed. But I never tried to push anything too much because I already knew I was too crazy. I couldn't start trying to I couldn't start trying to guide every vote as well.
What'd you
say?
Yeah. Obviously, Bo's name had never been out before either, so I think that
100%. I had never heard Bo's name, so him going out was great to me because that wasn't someone. If someone's name is there, they're still going to be there. The name's still going to be out, as we mentioned with Alan. It's hard to shake, and so. Bo, it was the first time Bo's got brought. Anytime it was the first time someone's name got brought up, I was all for getting them out. That was always my plan.
No, I was so sad to see him leave.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was bummed too.
I didn't even hide it. I was in a room with Alex. It was
people.
Yeah,
I don't know, like people saw, but once the game started, I left and I stayed in a room alone, and I met up with Bo, and we were like, I like this. We should keep this.
Yeah. I was like, Miguel, final two, please.
Yeah.
I was in a room with Alex when we found out that the LOS was played and Bo was
I was there too.
And I made a sad face, and then I was like, "Oh shit, Alex!"
I saw it, but I knew I could have been the sole vote that sent Bo home. Did anyone here vote Bo that round?
No.
This is all just
We voted you out, Alex.
We were all being so transparent. We all wanted you out. I don't know how. Like from so early.
That was what my video did to me. I was like I said, I didn't win. I won in spite of myself. All these errors that I made, I still somehow made it as far as I did. Without that LOS, my game would have been super short.
The one thing I want to say with your video, though. Oh, is it lagging? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. The one thing I want to say with your video, I think that the difference is that you had a strong video and the way you played was strong from the beginning as well. So it wasn't like you were trying to be like a sheep, like a, you know what I mean? Like just act like you weren't a strong player. You kept with that same momentum and that same energy. So it kind of was like, okay, this is Alex. He's just going to go like that. It wasn't like really felt like deceiving. It was just like, okay. But I mean, obviously you were a target and you let us know every single second you were a target. But yeah. So I don't think your video was too like bad. I don't think so.
It worked. And then once I just embraced it, and I would pop into a room and it was like the first thing I'd say. I'd be like, I'm the target here, guys. I know I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Like, I need you. You know what I mean? Like
I would say that to everyone, though. Sorry, Renee, it wasn't just you.
No, I didn't mean it to be. I didn't mean it was just that thing. You said that, and that helped people be like, "Oh, we're a team. Like I'm gonna help him." I had no assumption you thought it was just me. No. I'm not that nice.
Well, this was where Bo, unfortunately, we saw you eliminated. Bo, do you have any final thoughts on the game? Anything we may have not touched on yet, or anything about minis or mini in general? What are your thoughts?
I'm just glad that I got to play with you guys. It was a great cast and a really, really strong players. So really I'm happy that I was part of that family. I would love to play again because I was LOS, so I technically haven't been voted out. Yeah. Technically. So, yeah.
True.
I would love to play again.
Well, thank you, Bo. Be sure to follow Bo down below on Twitter and Instagram. Stay in touch. Bo, do you have any plans to play a mini again in the future?
Yes, absolutely. I'll send it in.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get to play.
There you go. Nowhere to go from up, hopefully.
Okay. Yes.
Hopefully, I guess Brandon Belch may have proved that wrong, who unfortunately got first boot 2 minis in a row.
That's good.
Oh, no.
Brandon, there's nowhere to go.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, bro. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Thank you, TR. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
So after Bo was eliminated, we moved on to round 6, which was round 5, which was the 12 Days of Christmas poem. Now, if anyone in the chat happens to know that poem, go ahead and drop it because I'd love to go over.
Got it in my notes.
You got it? Yeah,
of course you do.
Of course, Alex does. So,
it's the most sloppy notes of all time. But look how I wrote these.
You have all 12? Everyone have all 12?
Same.
Yeah.
It gets messy as it goes.
Yeah, it gets real messy.
12 Days of Christmas by Spencer Brief. Alex, do you want to fill us in on what those were?
Yeah. So on the 12th day of July, it was 12 LOSs. Oh, see, and my notes are incomplete. What is Bill? 11 Bill?
11 Bill. Or 10 Bill.
I think it was it 11 methlings, something like that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Bill Methling. Yes.
Yeah.
10 floaters floating. 9 something spinning.
Wheels
spinning.
Yeah.
8 mods. Room moderators?
Singing. Mods of singing.
Mods of singing. 7 sharks of swimming. I wrote Jordan for 6.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I also Jordan, and I can't remember.
It was
I can't remember.
Okay.
Keeping, yeah.
Wow. I don't know what I wrote for 5. I wrote BB. Jeez, I don't have good notes.
It's 5
Battlebacks. 5 battlebacks. Oh man, I am the wrong person for this. 4 prayers.
Wow.
Drags. It was 4 drags.
Drags.
I completely missed 4.
Miguel, do you want to take over here?
It was 3 pre-games. I don't remember 2.
Oh god.
Was it
Thumbs up.
2 thumbs?
2
Oh,
thumbs.
2 thumbs
Yeah.
up. There you go, yeah.
2 thumbs and
room
one
limit.
room limit.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
There we go. So,
Well, she said it so fast. That just goes to show our notes.
Right?
So I didn't even write these numbers in originally. I just wrote the words she was saying and I would count. But then when I realized we were doing this so many times, then I filled in with the numbers. And the best one is I'm missing 7. And she goes, how many sharks were swimming? And I was like, it's the one I don't have. Oh, 7.
I didn't have 4 too, and I put 4, and I was like, why didn't I put 7? Because obviously 7 sharks are swimming. I was so mad.
Mine are not even complete. I just wrote LOS and the 11. I knew it was methlings, but I only wrote ME. Just so I would remember. Yeah,
She was going fast.
Because I knew the acronyms, like I knew she wouldn't, like as long as I got the first 2 letters of each word, then I was fine. And then the number, that's how I knew that would be important.
I just did not write anything down. I'm usually such a good note taker, but I'm like, she's going to read it now. I can remember for one round. I had no idea it was going to keep coming back and back and back and back. And I just totally underestimated that, or I would have taken some notes and tried because I just, as soon as the second question was asked, I was like, I am screwed here.
It's just like Josh's video. I took notes of every single thing it said.
I didn't take notes on Josh's video, and that was what made me think I should do it the second time.
I'll have you know, watching Josh's video from a commentator perspective, or so I hear, because I wasn't on commentary last night, was that some people were like focusing on the Christmas tree in the corner, like the ornaments and like the colors of things. Yeah,
that's exactly what I did.
Wasting their focus on completely misleading things. So, Audrey, if that was intentional, good on you. Now we do have before I bring in our next guest, I will say that round. The people who ended up being safe were Alex B, Brendan F, Brittany, who, by the way, was basically the comp beast of the night.
Yeah, 100%. Brittany was
after time, and Brittany will be joining us a little later on for in the chat. But yeah, Brittany, either your internet is great or you are just truly a comp beast. But
oh my God, in the chat, I gotta read this. She's in the chat. She said, "Y'all won't believe me, but I actually didn't write any of the 12 Days of Christmas down."
All right, shut up, Brittany.
Okay, you don't need to flex.
That's unreal.
I know she's trying to slay. Go ahead, girl.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
We also had Matt safe. We also had James safe. And we had our next guest coming in. We had Mike safe. So let's bring Mike in. Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Now, Mike, do you have any thoughts on the 12 Days of Christmas round? Do you have any thoughts on any of the rounds we've discussed already? What are your thoughts?
Oh.
I actually also didn't write anything down. I kind of just guessed. I was like, shit. I went off of the original 12 Days of Christmas. I was like, okay, Mods is singing something.
Maids of Milking. Yeah, there you go.
With 8. And then I ended.
It certainly worked out for you.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Certainly worked out for you. This round resulted in Brendan O being eliminated, but Brendan didn't just stop there. He took Jordan with him. So we saw both of you go. So sad. How was it that Brendan's wondering too? How was it that Brendan was the one that ended up going? And Brendan, how was it that you chose Jordan? Let's get into it.
So I have a pro tip, really insightful stuff for anyone watching along. I was like a master note taker. I had amazing internet, and I was watching Brittany win. I was watching Brendan F win. I was like, damn, if I was someone else in this game, I'd want them out. So I made the genius move of purposely throwing my answer late during that safety round because I was like, oh, I don't want to win again. Like, I think I have enough friends. Like, maybe this will help take the target off my back. I don't know if I would have gotten it if I didn't do that, but don't do that. That's stupid.
And this was a situation. Normally in drag rounds, the only thing that can save you is an LOS. But this time, the players who got safety were not only safe from being voted, they were safe from the drag, which is a lot of power. It pointed out in the commentary last night that a lot of times with drag rounds, people will get nervous that they're going to be dragged because the votes get exposed. And so you see a lot of like thrown votes, hinky votes. And in a game like this, I believe that almost every single person safe voted out Brendan, or for most of you did, and there was only like one person who wasn't safe who voted you out, who I believe you were there. Yeah. So this was interesting to see because obviously the people who were safe had full, complete safety. They didn't have to worry about being scared. It didn't matter if the votes were exposed because you couldn't drag them. So that was also an interesting distinction for the night.
Yeah, I actually stayed very loyal to Brendan, and I actually voted for John because I knew John was not gonna leave because he wasn't really a target.
I voted for John too.
Oh,
interesting. I was loyal to Brendan too. That actually really shocked me.
Yeah.
Can we just break this down? Because so I'm in the room. I was very loyal to certain people in this room, right? I'm in the room, and then we have a different name. I forgot who the name was. And then all of a sudden, someone says Brendan O. And then Brendan O comes in. And then I'm like, I'm lagging. And I'm like, no, not Brendan. Oh, that was just like a genuine reaction. And then they said the time is up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to say another name. Like it was too much.
I hadn't heard my name at all. I entered that room. I heard Brittany backstage say, I've heard Brendan, room limit. We unmuted and Brittany was like, I've heard your name. I'm not voting your name. And then Lorenzo said, Jordan threw it out. Round over. And I was like,
round over. And then Brendan, you came in the room. You said, wait, my name Brendan? And then under Brendan is safe. So it is you. So it's crazy.
I was shocked because I hadn't really gone after anybody that hard, maybe aside from Alex. But then that turns out to have made sense.
Yeah, so I was in that room when you came in, and I was stupid and also like left at the room limit, which I could have maybe last second not had Lorenzo say that if I had stayed. But yeah, I think Tyra, like what I was saying was just that like I hadn't come across Brendan O, and then like people were like, I'll vote Brendan O. So it was like one of those things where like I did say your name, like I'm not gonna lie, I said your name, but I wasn't like trying to like come for you. Yeah. It was literally just like looking at the thing and being like, haven't talked to him, and it just gained traction. So
it was unlucky. I had no reason to drag anybody that wasn't safe. So I was like I needed that one thing to put someone over the edge, and unfortunately that was for you. But that whole round I knew, because like me not being safe, I knew I wasn't voting for an actual target, so I assumed everyone else was going to do the exact same thing. So I was trying to find people who were safe to get them to figure out what the votes were, but I felt like I couldn't find people. And then especially for like the end of the round, I felt super out of the loop with like, and that's I guess when that conversation happened that I got out. But that was tricky, and it makes those people very popular, like the most popular people in the game. It's like the one time you can trust who someone's going to vote for.
So I can see these things. We can address it right now. I talked with Brendan backstage earlier, and I gave him an apology because the one thing I this round in particular, I think it was either Phil or Mike, people who had been targeted that was supposed to go home. One of you two. I had heard your name a bunch, and the last second I heard Brendan O, and I came up with a bold-faced lie, which I had come up with before the game, and it was only because your name had never been brought up before, Brendan O, and this is my strategy of keeping targets. I told everyone that I had played with Brendan O before and that he was a super snake. And
super snake.
Yeah, and it was not true, and it was just to get your name pushed over the edge, and it worked last second.
It was good. I mean, I didn't see it coming from a mile away, and it was some sequester justice the round before, because I hadn't been eligible to be voted for until the safety roulette, because I had been safe every round. So that was the first round I could have been up, and it went so well, but I think I was blinded by the fact that that room of people were people that weren't going to vote me out. Mm-hmm. And then this round, the people who were safe, I think, were not obviously as loyal, but I was not quick enough on the draw to realize that.
Yeah. I just wanted to apologize to you. I was actually talking
to
an F last night, not Brett, not you, but he brought up that it's hard to rebuke things that are like outside the game, whether it's true or not. And so the fact that I took it, and he brought up the point, like I could say like you were like my middle school bully or something. Like I could make up something like really nasty. And so while I don't regret it because I felt like I was in danger, I do want to apologize to you because it was
apology accepted, not needed, all's fair. And
I appreciate it.
And Sequester, I said this backstage, I'll say it again, one of us got voted out 5th, one of us won. So it's all good in my book.
I will say, in a game where the slogan is "Trust us, trust no one," I mean, lies do play a fair part in it, and I think Alex the line there is, as long as you aren't saying stuff like Brendan was my middle school bully. I don't personally see an issue with you bringing up fake game information. That doesn't scream personal. That doesn't scream like super mean or anything. It's just a lie. Like, and just like any other lies in the game people might tell, it was somewhat game related, and it wasn't like you were personally attacking Brendan. So I don't see an issue with that lie. I could see how people could say, oh, that could be an issue if you went this way. The thing is, you didn't. No, that's the distinction. I do agree that would probably be a morally gray area, if not all the way bad, if you were to start saying like, oh yeah, Renee like mercilessly bullied me for years and she is horrible and she'll do the same thing to you if you let her stay in this game's too long. Like that's where it starts to get into a territory of like, whoa, hey. But I think where you kept it was perfectly fine. And Brendan, you just became the victim of a very convincing lie here, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what it means that people believed it. I don't know if I should work on my presentation a little bit, but no, it's good. It's a good point.
I was ready to say it about anyone. I just fill in the blank name. I had it ready to go. No, and I was trying to.
You weren't the only person. I think who was it? Someone told Brendan F. Like literally, like I purposely went out of my way to tell Brendan F. I didn't want to vote him out because I see that like being a thing. So I wanted to make sure like there was no room for like the Brendans to turn on each other. And then someone turned him on me. And that wasn't true at all either.
I think that was Alex.
I think it was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
God, so bad.
Because it was going to be Phil.
Yeah, and like I said, Phil was the target. I knew people whose names were in the ether already.
Actually, Alex, I have a question for you on that because Phil was the target. You came in the room, said the lie about Brendan, and then you acted hesitant about wanting to vote for Brendan and said that's for a later round. Were you really hesitant? Okay.
No, that's
intended
just
to vote
a
for
convinced
Brendan.
lie. Yeah. If I tell people I'm too gung-ho about it, it seems maybe a little more hokey.
Okay. So no matter what, you were voting for Brendan that round?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I just wondered that.
And one thing I just want to point out, I feel like because the rounds are so quick, like if you pull out a lie or a rumor towards the last part of it, you really don't have enough time. And if you tell enough people to like kind of, backtrack and change the votes. So I think it depends the moment you say the rumor / lie. And I think Alex B did a good job with that in this situation. But yeah.
Lorenzo did too, because I could have dragged Lorenzo, and I've heard now after the fact that apparently Lorenzo was kind of targeting the Brendans, which I didn't know, but Lorenzo throwing Jordan out, suddenly I dragged Jordan out of the game. And that was like a split-second thing too.
I was so mad.
Me too.
Yeah, Jordan was like the only person that I knew had my back, and so I was like, no, what am I gonna do?
Hey, I had your back. But
me too. Me too.
No, I was definitely with y'all, but Jordan was the person that I wanted to like be final two with, like, because we were in the room together at first, so I was like, But
I honestly like didn't even think about throwing my vote, which I should have looked at who was safe and who was saying Brendan O's name, because I mean I don't know, like maybe you still would have dragged me even if I hadn't voted for you, but like I should have thought about just throwing my vote away because there was a drag, and I was just like, Brendan doesn't really know me, why would he drag me? But then
if you hadn't voted for me and I like hadn't heard anything, I have no idea who I would have dragged that round. No, if I wasn't like if it was only safe votes on me and like that comment doesn't get made, I would have like picked out of the hat. Like I mean, there's certain people I wouldn't have chosen, but like I had no one to drag.
It was shocking. It was shocking. Your speech was good too. It said, Jordan, I'm dragging you.
I was totally calling out. I was totally calling out Matt too, because I got the impression that he was not. When I saw that he voted for me, that kind of confirmed. I was like, I feel like he probably voted Keith. He also probably went along with voting out Alan. I was like, you're going after our room, but also no hard feelings there.
So who's the person you didn't want to blow up? You said I don't want to blow up your game.
It was
Matt. Okay.
Just because I felt like you. Yeah, it was Matt.
I was like, no.
No, it wasn't you. I didn't even know you had done that. I just, when I heard that Matt voted for me, I was like, okay, so now like Keith, Alan, me, and like we had just never, we had like a room alliance from the beginning, but like, does that mean something every time? Not really. And we had never really like gone back and forth to like talk to each other that much. But that's also what I knew from my seat, which was limited.
Well, Brendan O, thank you so much for playing. Do you want to tell people a little bit about your Twitter account below? Looks like you
yeah. I don't have a personal Twitter account, so you don't have to listen to my podcast if you follow me on Twitter. Feel free just to follow me on Twitter. It's Survivor WC Pod. I'm like a Survivor fan. That's how I found out about this show. But yeah, feel free to hit me up on there. If you want to check out the podcast, more than welcome to. I had such a blast. This was like first time applying, getting on. It was so fun. This is such a great group. Hope to do it again someday. And just super grateful to be involved. Thanks all.
Brandon, you're awesome.
Thanks everybody.
And it wasn't like we said, it wasn't just Brandon who went out this round. Jordan went with him. Jordan. Any final thoughts before you go?
I will absolutely be back as many times as humanly possible. It was so much fun, even though I didn't make it very far. It was fun getting hammered and judging everybody afterwards, and hopping on this podcast. And the more I can be involved in the Sequester community, the better. So thank you so much.
There's always opportunities for it, Jordan. So be sure to follow Brendan. Be sure to follow Jordan on Twitter or Instagram. Check them out. And both of you, we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you for joining us today.
Bye, all.
Bye, guys.
So after the two of those were gone, we moved on to the next round, which was round 6, the highest even votes round. This is one of the harder twists that we typically see in the game. It's can be one of the more random ones for sure. This was the round where John was eliminated. I believe his name in the game was John Deere. He was dressed as a reindeer. Do we have any thoughts on John? Do we have any thoughts on that round? How did John see his way out? Was there anyone else that we were considering at any point?
I threw his name out in our room that I was in. Alex was there. Tyra was there. I guess Tyra didn't vote for him, but somebody else.
Someone else was there.
So we were all sitting there, and I know my name's been out there for like 6 rounds in a row. So I am like dead set on getting our 6 to vote together, and then Matt throws my name out, and I'm sitting right there, and that was great.
You threw it out a couple times.
I couldn't believe that. I was shocked.
I know I was too, but it actually worked out well in my favor in that round because at that point he couldn't leave because we would have targeted him, and I wasn't gonna leave because I knew he would have thrown my name out. Yeah. So at that point we're like locked in on a 6 right there, and nobody was throwing out a name, and I'm like, there's only a couple names I have not heard at all. So John it is.
So Tyra, you didn't vote John that round?
Wait, who was he up against? I'm sorry, I forgot.
It was the even numbered vote. We were in
a room of 4 to start, and we were like, if us 4 vote John,
it was
6.
Six. You're 100% right. Sorry. Yes, there were 6 of us. We're like 6 will take it. It would have been after the Brendan O vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and we said we had the plan, we were going to vote for John, and then we said we were going to tell everybody it was Max because we didn't want to say anyone's John. So I said people are going to ask us for a name. We say that we said Max because his name had been floating out.
Speaking of Max, he's looked pretty shocked backstage. We do have Jingle Max joining us now. Hi, Max.
Hi, Max.
Max. Speaking of.
Max, do you have any thoughts on what we've discussed so far, or on the revelation that Renee just said that your name was being floated around as a decoy name? What are your thoughts?
First off, hi.
Hi, Max.
Hey, Max.
Sorry.
You meant to mute.
I freaking knew people were wanting to say my name this round, so that's why I voted myself out and did not vote with my block for the even number of votes rounds. And that was like
That's what I was afraid of. And Alex, I said that in the room. We were saying Max at first, and I said, is he smart enough to vote for himself knowing his name's out there?
And so we switched to John, and we were like, we'll tell everyone Max. That way they hopefully pile votes on him, and it's odd or just random. But it sounds like you made it odd. It sounds like you might have gone home if you didn't vote for yourself. I can't say that certainly, but I do know your name had traction that round. But when John went...
I wasn't completely sure I was going to go out that round. Part of why I wanted to vote myself out is because I knew you, Alex, were a target. I wanted to have a shield ahead of me, so that's why I wanted to take out that block that was in that wanted to vote you out. That's kind of my strategy for that round.
Oh, so you were part of the. You were supposed to vote me out, but you voted yourself instead.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I was skimming through room 1 last night when I couldn't sleep at 4 a.m. and I did see in the even number vote people talking about me, and I was like, I want to see how many of those votes came through. But so that's crazy because I think you saved you and me then.
So we also have joining us into the conversation, we have Lorenzo. Hi, Lorenzo.
Hi, Lorenzo.
Hi, Lorenzo.
Do you have any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far, or any thoughts on the highest even votes round that we're in right now?
Yeah, a couple things. I just want to say about the drag round because I know that a lot of the responsibility for kind of what happened there came on me. Yes, I was. If you look at kind of, I think during the round where Bo went home, I had a kind of diary room confessional that I did notice that the 2 Brendans had won, I think, both of the immunity things going up to that point. The truth is that I didn't even notice that Brittany also had won them, and that's kind of because, to be completely honest, with 17 guys and 5 girls, voting out any of the women wasn't even on my radar, like, for the first, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I only took note of the guys who were winning immunity, and that ended up being the 2 Brendans. And so I wanted to get both of them out. I didn't want them to get out at that round. But after kind of Brendan O's name started to get traction, I didn't want to get him out right away because then Keith, Alan, and him were all in my original room, had gone out. And so I was like, okay, that doesn't bode well for myself and for Matt. But at the same time, he was kind of somebody that I knew I wanted to get out sooner rather than later. And I kind of thought, the timing's not great. I'm not going to vote for him. Max, I actually threw my vote on you for that round, as I did kind of later on. But and so with that, when Jordan was kind of one of the people also that I had.
Lorenzo, you're kind of cutting in and out right now. You're a little choppy in what you're saying, Lorenzo.
Kind of just people in my.
I'm sure whatever you're saying is fantastic, Lorenzo.
Brendan, and so
Lorenzo, I'm sure you'll learn once I kick you. I'm going to kick you. You can rejoin in just a moment, and hopefully that will shake things up. There you go. Hopefully Lorenzo will be joining us in a moment. As we see in the game, sometimes tech issues really show their ugly heads, you know. But any other thoughts on this highest even votes round that we haven't maybe said so far? Any other thoughts on John going or anything else?
I like John. I voted for him, but
I like John too. This round, I think, as we get into the next round, this round gave me a little too much comfort going into the next round because my plan worked. And so I felt good about what we had just done, and I kind of got complacent a little bit. And I think that although this round I was happy with what happened, it ended up being my downfall moving forward.
I was shocked that it was actually John because that was the plan. That was the plan I was in on, and I feel like that has never worked on an even numbered vote twist.
Yeah.
So when his name, I was more surprised that it worked. That's usually not the way when he was actually the one, but it was just him. There was nothing against him, but his name had never been out. He was so good that's the person who goes out in that round, and it was really unfortunate. But
and Renee, like, I mean, you were in the room with me, and like you asked me for a name on that round, and so I was just looking at the board, and I'm just like, I'm looking for anyone I have not heard at all, and that was the only name that I could come up with besides maybe James. It was either James or John that I was thinking of in that round, and it just happened to be John that I threw out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been down for James, so it worked out.
Yeah,
right. Me either. James.
I was shocked that it was John, and because I hadn't heard his name at all, which obviously I see the plan that was in place, and this was like, James, you got to wake up. There's something going on here. You're not included. You need to turn this up. So I was like way more aware after that.
Yeah, sorry, my sound was awful earlier, but kind of the plan in our room was that there were 4 people. I don't remember who exactly it was, but the 4 of us were supposed to go on James, and then later on when I went into another room, we originally had that plan was like, okay, we'll all go for James. We'll throw out Alex B because that seems to be kind of where the momentum is going. And then later on, when I got into another room, Audrey, who was in that room with me originally, started throwing James out. And so that kind of made me a little bit freaked out because I thought, oh, we already had 4. That's an even number that could easily be like the most even numbered votes. And so when she started to bring James up again in the other room, I thought, oh, this kind of is screwing over our even number plan. I don't really know what's going on there. And eventually, and then she said, oh, maybe we can do James or Alex B. And I tried to bring up Brendan F because, as I said, I was targeting both of the Brendans because of the immunity stuff. And so, you know, I still ended up voting James because I didn't really have a better plan. I personally wanted John to be my final 2. Much that nobody knew that, but I didn't tell anybody that I'm also Filipino. And so when John had his whole video about I'm Filipino, I live in Singapore, I never got a chance to say it to him, but I wanted to say, hey, let's do an all Filipino final 2. This is going to be great. Like it'll be, and then I just never got the chance to. And so too little too late on that round for me.
So also this round, Lorenzo, you, me, and Phil make a final 3. Actually, that might be the next round, but then it was short-lived.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. As John was, after John was eliminated, I should say, we moved into round.
Sorry. Can I say something really quickly? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I did not vote for John. I know you guys asked me that earlier.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, I need to see that vote count.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
Because I just remember on Twitter, John asked me today. He was like, "Oh, you voted for me." I was like, "No, John. I said I wouldn't vote for you in the beginning." And then I remember, even though the plan was great, I know this is a bad rookie move. I kind of forgot what we said, so I just went with somebody else. I'm sorry. It was like a lot
so
going
fast.
on.
I get that. I totally get that.
I was looking for LOSs and things going on, but yeah. So I missed that part. But yeah, I didn't vote for John. I voted for sorry Max. I voted for you there, but yeah.
I really want to know how that happened then.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Audrey, release the votes. So after John was eliminated, we moved into round 7, which was where the 12 Days of Christmas poem came back into play. So once again, players were given the opportunity for safety. The people who were safe from elimination that round were Matt, we had Brittany, we had Miguel, and Alex B. So the 4 of you were safe, and this resulted in Phil, you being eliminated. Now, in this twist, this was, if I'm reading this chart correctly, if I'm remembering correctly, this was the twist where majority vote is the one who goes home, but any like minority votes, they're the ones who
Nominated.
They're the ones who are nominated. Yes. So, Phil, how was it that you ended up being eliminated here? I want to know. I'm dying to know.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because it's the one round I didn't hear my name. Like the entire game, that's the one round I didn't hear my name, and apparently it all came out of basically one room that I was never a part of. So apparently people were threatened by me and Mike. They knew that we had formed a little duo early in the game, and so Brittany was bringing that up. I know Tyra was in the room whenever that was happening too. So that was kind of where the momentum came from, and I know Renee had just mentioned in the couple rounds before that I had played previously, which nobody knew about until she said that. And so
Can I defend that a little bit, just to bring it back? The only reason I said it, I thought for sure you were going. It was the drag round, and was the only name, and it was you. And I said I cannot vote for him because I know he played, and I think he will drag me. So I was saying it to cover my ass in case they didn't hear my name, my vote being read. That was the only reason, because I thought you were done, or I would not have done that. So I do apologize for that one.
And like, I wouldn't have done that because I was committed to you and Kelly doing well, even if I couldn't do well, because I knew you from outside the game. And if I had to go down so that you and Kelly could succeed, I was going to do that. I mean, like, I knew Kelly was playing for 2 days beforehand, and basically I was more dedicated to me and Kelly doing well than I was to myself doing well.
I didn't know you knew that.
Yeah, so when I had that in mind, and then I knew you were playing too, I was more dedicated to the 3 of us going far than I was to my own game, to my own detriment. And so, you know, I wouldn't have done that. And, you know, it brings up a good point later. I won't be able to be on here with Kelly, unfortunately. But the move you make against Kelly at Final 5 is a move I could not make. Like, I could not have outed that she won. And that makes you a much better player than me, Renee.
Aww. That was real.
I was good to, honestly, I swear I thought you were done. The only reason I said it, I wouldn't have. Kelly is a different story. Obviously, that was very intentional. But with you, I really honestly was not. I had no, only because I thought you were dead to rights, and I didn't want it to come back to bite me because I didn't vote for you. It's the only reason I did it.
And Phil, we had a plan. I don't remember who we were targeting, but then at the last minute, because I was safe, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to slough my vote. It'd be fine. And I actually voted Audrey that round. Just knowing she was nominated.
I voted Brendan F.
That's
round.
what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Brendan F, but I wanted to keep Brendan F.
Well, I mean, Alex, this is the round where you and Phil and myself made a
final three, and then we're all sitting there waiting for the votes to be read, and then Phil goes, and it was like, oh, so much for the final 3.
and this was the round where I really started to push Brendan F as well. In retrospect, I may have done it around too early because of the throwaway stuff. I pushed him. I didn't vote for him. I threw my vote on you. But so I think that kind of was a mistake on my part where, again, I knew I wanted to get both of the Brendans out just because of the immunity stuff. And again, I completely didn't even notice that Brittany had won. Like, more than any of them, because I was so focused on like, let's get all the guys out, even though that could have been like detrimental to my game. So when you got voted out, I mean, I thought, I mean, I was hoping that all the votes would go on Brendan F, but at the same time, I kind of figured that, well, if he doesn't go home at this point, there's definitely going to be somebody who votes for him. He's going to be vulnerable next round, and then we can, kind of try to go after him next round again. And so, I really still don't quite understand. I wasn't in the room where your name was thrown out either, so I really don't know what happened there.
Yeah, no, and it's like, it's one of those things where if I don't go home there, I am up next time, and it's basically like, very few people up against me, and I'm still a target. So it's like I wasn't going very far anyway, and so it was fine. I would have preferred a chance to be able to scramble for myself that round, but.
So I was disappointed that the vote was on you, Phil. I was kind of wanting to push it on Mike because you had the Titans thing in your background, and I'm from like the Nashville area, so I was like, I gotta get in the room with him and talk about the Titans, but I just never found you.
Yeah. I think with that round, Mike, a lot of people were saying Mike was taking a lot of notes, so that was the reason why people were saying Mike at that point, and it might have just been. I don't know if Alex told me that. And then Phil, we heard your name too many times, and I think it was like the wits end of it, like the straw that broke the camel's back. But I didn't really want to vote for you that round, to be honest. But
I wanted you to play, Phil. In the moment, I was so bummed you left that I didn't see that my vote for Audrey actually was probably one of my best moves in the game. Yeah. But in the moment, I was so sad that you left because you were a shield for me. That I didn't. It didn't even sink in that was a really good move for me.
I actually didn't talk to him that much, and in my room we were all like, okay, so Mike and Phil have a little alliance. So if we start breaking the alliance, we can actually make this work, and then Mike is not that big of a threat, because that's how they saw it. Like we saw it as a threat, so we took down Phil. So I did actually vote for Phil.
Yeah, well, in hindsight, for everybody, like that was probably it was a good move to get me out when I did because I had the Kelly connection, I had the Renee connection, I had the Mike connection. I had just made a final 3 with Alex and Lorenzo, like
just seconds before.
If I get a couple more rounds, like I'm coasting at jury.
And you were likable too, so you probably would have got me because it was just definitely good energy. So
yeah. So.
Well, Phil, this was where we saw you leave. Any final thoughts on the game as a whole, on minis in general? Do you plan to play again?
I would love to play again. The community that I got, in Sequester in general and with my first game, like obviously I was loyal as hell to Kelly. Like I would have been loyal to anyone of the 19 other people that I played with previously. And it was just such a good experience for me, even though I went out third my first game, that like I had to keep applying. I applied 8 times before I got on this Christmas in July game. Like I was dedicated to getting on one of these things, getting into the community. And I'm so glad I'm in the community. And I'm so glad that I will have the ability to continue to build relationships in the community. And I'd love to play again at any point. I've been watching these games obsessively for 3 months now, and I just love everything about Sequester. Even though I've gone out pre-jury twice, I'd love to try to go for Marcus Pearson's record of 4 pre-jury exits if I could.
Hey, I went out pre-jury twice, and then I came back and did this. So
you were a big threat though, Phil. While you were in the game, you were always a constant presence.
Yeah, so I'm glad about that, and I love to connect with every one of you. It was an honor to play with all of you, and I'd love to keep growing my connections.
We're so glad to have you in the community, Phil. And Phil, we see a lot of people who watch these games, who apply to these games. We see a lot of people, get a little frustrated sometimes that they have to keep applying and they have to apply so many times. And I think, Phil, you're a great testament that just keep trying because you will get in eventually. Like, don't give up. If you really want to play this game, manifest it, apply, it will happen for you. So
yeah, and honestly, it made it mean so much more to me that I had to apply so many times because it made this a special moment for me when it was like I got that confirmation email and I was just it was the best moment, and for 2 days that's all I thought about. And so if I had gotten in on my first application, I don't think it would have been that amazing for me. But the fact that I had to apply for a month,
it was all the more sweeter,
right?
And it was festive, so that's a great one, I think.
Also, I wanted to give a quick little thing. I almost didn't make it into the game last night. I was planning on playing at my office because it was I have the internet that's a lot stronger there, and I get there and my power's out at the office. Oh. And we had spent 2 days setting up a Christmas background at my office before we had played the game. And so I'm sitting there and I have to move from my office back to my friend's house which has the only other strong internet I could use for the game. And we set up my background in 25 minutes, and they were setting it up behind me while we were doing sound checks so that I was able to play last night.
Wow. Well, that's certainly
glad you got
that's certainly a good friend. Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks for having me, guys.
Phil. Thanks for coming on the show. Be sure to follow Phil down below on Twitter. Stay in touch with Phil. And Phil, we can't wait to see you play again in the future.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Great job, Phil. Good job.
Well, after Phil was eliminated, that moved us into round 8, where the minority votes there were the ones who were up for elimination. That had Mike, Mike, Max, James, Audrey, and Brendan F as the flops up for elimination. Of course, this was where Mike, you were eliminated. Let's get into it. Who were our targets? Who did we want out? Was it Mike the whole time? How did this happen?
So actually, I was in the first room and they were all going for Brandon F, but I did not agree with that. So then when I went to another room, I started people started asking, "Oh, what name are you hearing?" And I started saying Audrey. I'm hearing Audrey, but no one was saying Audrey.
You convinced me. I voted Audrey because you said that, Miguel.
You convinced me too, Miguel, because everyone said
I didn't want to vote Audrey, and you were like, I was like, I guess I have to.
Yeah. So then I went to another room, and then Mike was there, and I was saying, Mike, people are saying Audrey. Let's just vote Audrey, because he was scared that he was gonna get thrown out. I said, you're safe with me. I'm not voting for you.
Right.
So I thought people were actually gonna vote Audrey out or Brendan F.
I had a connection with Brendan F, so it was so weird when we were in that same room. I think it was me, Miguel, and maybe Alex, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Brendan F."
Lorenzo was there, right?
No, I don't think I ever was in the room with Lorenzo. But when everyone said Brendan F, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm gonna say I am, but I'm not gonna do it 100%. Then you came and we said Audrey. Was like, I barely am around Audrey. I can definitely say her name. And then that's when the whole Audrey thing started from there. But we'll get into that later.
Well, I heard that Audrey was saying my name, so I was saying Audrey's name, but then people were saying that there was somebody else we needed to go after, and they weren't going to vote for Audrey. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just stick with my people this round and then work on Audrey the next round.
Well, I remember that because I was in a room with Audrey, and she had said Mike, I believe, and then you had come in not long after and said, "Oh, I heard Audrey was saying your name," and I was like, "But she didn't just say your name at all to me."
I thought it was James that said that.
James, yeah.
Okay.
Joining us in the discussion now, we have Brian. Let's welcome Brian. Brian, do you have any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far, or anything on this round where Mike was eliminated? Where's your head at?
I have so many feelings. No, I had so much fun last night. It was such a good game and such a great cast. And as far as this round goes, I voted for Audrey. I was on to her, and I felt like she was, I don't know, I just really wanted her to go. Yeah, I don't know. I had a good time. That's it.
I mean, a lot of us voted Audrey that round, so it's kind of surprised Mike ended up going.
Because I had Audrey written down and I scratched out and put Mike.
Wow.
So Renee swayed me away from Audrey.
I wasn't excited about Audrey going, but then I didn't want Mike to go either. Those are two people I considered bigger threats like myself.
I was slightly confused. Like, I never heard Audrey once in the round. Like, the room I was in, we were quiet at first, so I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to say Mike because I don't want me to be out the round. And then that's the only name I've heard, for the rest of the round.
It's crazy how big these rooms can get where there's two plans going on and they don't even cross.
Yeah, my whole strategy up to this point was I really wanted to target the people that I perceived as being low-key, kind of under the radar players.
That's why I wanted to keep you, Brian. Yes.
So there was a lot of there's a lot of people I considered bigger personalities or bigger targets, and I basically never voted for any of them. But Audrey was the first bigger target that I started to go after because as the rounds were going on, I was more comfortable with targeting a bigger player like that. And I think it was Brittany or somebody told me something kind of sketchy that Audrey had done, and I was like, fuck it, let's vote her out. But
yeah, I mean, I again, and this is kind of a theme, I kept pushing Brendan F in this round. I thought that there was enough traction on it. I didn't even I should have known who my audience was, because I kind of didn't realize that the people I was pitching it to were like wanted to keep him in the game because of, you know, the whole threat, non-threat type of thing. Audrey, and I don't know how many people she had this with, and if she had more than I thought, props to her. But Audrey, John, and I had a final 3 deal, and then Audrey and I had a final 2 deal. And so I kind of, you know, Alex, we had the final 3, but then at the same time, like a final 2 beats a final 3. So I was going to kind of try and move the target off of Audrey as much as possible, as much as I could. And so, you know, I heard Mike a little bit. I was still trying to push Brendan F. Audrey was kind of a non-starter for me, and Mike, I did not think it was going to be you. I mean, I kind of knew that you were maybe going to get some, but I don't know, maybe it was like a split type of thing or whatever. How many people ended up like coalescing onto you? But I didn't vote for you. I really was trying to get Brendan F out, and because I also knew that I kept pushing him, and I pushed him so often that I knew that in the next 1 or 2 rounds, people were going to tell him that, hey, Lorenz is going after you. And so I knew that I kind of had like 1 or 2 shots to get him out before it started to really come back and bite me. And that's why I kind of had that sense of urgency, like I got to get him out like right now or in the next round. It didn't work. Sorry, Mike. I tried, but yeah.
And Mike, we made a final 3 right before you go as well.
Vote
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was originally gonna vote for Brendan F again. Figured, you know what? We took a shot at him the last round. Why not try it again? And that's when I got into a room with Miguel. We talked. And I was like talking about getting Audrey out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, she's on the block. We talked about getting this person out. And da 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 da. Now I realize my notes are wrong because I was pretty much drunk. And anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh my god.
Well, this was.
Wait a minute. I think Audrey voted me.
Yeah, I do wish that we had a voting chart for these patron, some of these more patron minis. With the size of the team with the minis, we are only really able to do them for the special event ones, like the Survivor ones and the Big Brother ones. But maybe one day we'll get to a point where we can have them for the patrons. This would come in handy because it is curious. It seems like it could have been you, Mike, or it could have been Audrey, and it just so happened that it was you. So who knows? Maybe 1 vote or 2 votes is what carried the difference here. But Mike, thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts on the mini as a whole, minis at large? Do you plan to play again? You've heard me ask this. What are your thoughts? Where's your head at?
Okay, my final thoughts. Note to self: room hop. Don't camp in the room.
Yes.
I got scared. My computer started lagging the moment I clicked open the YouTube stream. And I was like, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna get falked out. I'm gonna get tech evac. If I keep doing this, it's gonna pull me from the. I wanted to play for 2 months. I am not ruining my shot. So I tried to make the best of what I could do. And luckily, it got me all the way to Final 14. So I'm grateful for that. I appreciate playing the game finally. It also took me 8 tries to get on. And I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you. You know, StreamYard, the platform that we use for both the podcast here and for the minis, it is a server that handles obviously all these different people coming in at once. Typically, when you're seeing like a live stream, if you're watching like someone on Twitch or something, it's usually just the one person or a couple of people, and so it's not as hard for the program to manage it all. But when you start introducing so many people and then room shifts and all of that, it really starts to take a toll on some people's internet. Thankfully, you did not have to be tech evac from the game. You were just voted out normally. So we're glad that you spent the time in the game. We're glad you spent the time on the podcast here with us, Mike. Be sure to follow Mike down below. And Mike, hopefully it does not take another 8 weeks or 8 tries to get you in another mini. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
See you, Mike.
Of course, I'll be back. Hopefully
Thanks,
with better
Mike.
connection, better hardware. But if I gotta play like this again, I'll play like this again. I don't care.
You gotta do what you gotta do, Mike. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Bye, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
So after Mike was eliminated, we moved into yet another revisit from the 12 Days of Christmas poem. So another chance for safety here. The people who ended up being safe from elimination this round were Matt, Brittany yet again, Renee, and that's it. And it looks like that the person who was eliminated this round was Lorenzo.
Yes.
Lorenzo, how did that come to be? Why was it you and not maybe Brian or Alex even? I don't know.
Well, there was the tie that round.
So there were a couple.
That's right. We had a three-way tie, it looks like.
The second highest number of votes.
Second highest votes, and we had a tie between you, Alex B, and Brendan F. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through kind of what happened in the round from my perspective. And obviously, I got voted out, so I don't have the complete picture. So if you guys can kind of fill in the gaps on that, I would appreciate that. But essentially, I'm pretty sure I Tyson apostled myself out of the game in this round because I had a plan in my initial room. There were 4 of us. I believe it was me and Kelly, and I forget who the other 2 people were. We were all supposed to vote for Alex. And then what ended up happening, I kind of started running the numbers in my head. I was like, okay, there's 13. There's 4 votes. Is that going to be enough? Is that going to be second most? I kind of got freaked out because I thought that 4 could carry the day, especially if it was going to be like a 4-4, and then maybe like somebody, like one of the 3 or the 2 would be the one voted out. And so what ended up happening was I got into a room kind of towards the end of the round with Alex. You were in that room, and I think James, you were in that room as well. And then Alex.
So was Brendan F.
Yeah, and so Alex, it was like
it was you, me, Miguel, and Brendan F.
Yeah, and then I think that was it. And then Alex comes up into the room and says, "I've heard everybody's name except for Lorenzo." And so at that point, I maybe that kind of I kind of thought, is that a bad omen, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really know what the plan is for that, and and then Alex at the last minute literally says, "Oh, so should we just vote Miguel?" And I changed my vote to Miguel.
I voted Miguel as well.
If I had put my vote,
I know I came in the room. I remember at the last minute because I heard Max was saying my name, and then
the round was over.
Yeah, and I came in the room and I was like, Max was saying my name, and then someone saying my name, and then Brendan said, "Yeah, it was Max." And then the round was over.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm screwed.
Yeah, so from my perspective, if I had changed my vote, if I had not changed my vote, and if I had stuck my vote on Alex in the first place, I'm pretty sure, Alex, you would have been the one to go home in that round instead of me. And then when the tie happened, and it was myself, Brendan, and Alex, and we were all in the same room, we kind of looked at each other like, okay, this sucks. Well, yeah. And then I kept trying to hop from room to room, and everybody was saying, it's Brendan, it's Brendan. And in my head, I was like, if everybody's voting Brendan, that means Alex or I are going home. And I knew that I kind of was screwed at that point because it was, I read some of the comments and people were saying like, Lorenzo, you should have tried to get people to put the votes on you. But by the time I got into rooms, it seemed like everybody was putting the votes on Brendan. And so out of desperation, I put my vote on Alex because I knew that Brendan was going to be the person with the most votes. I tried to like maybe get Alex to be the second most person, but at that point I kind of knew that it wasn't going to turn out too well for me. I don't know how many votes I got. It was definitely either 2 or 3 now that I go back and run the numbers, and I don't know who those came from. But at the end of the day, you guys got me on my back foot, and nothing but props to that because I really did not see that one coming.
That tie was so complicated because in the tie, it's still second highest number of votes.
Yeah. See, that's what I didn't understand.
I voted Brendan F, and that actually probably was a mistake looking back on it because he definitely got the most amount of votes.
He did.
And so you're right. It was you or I that was going to go home. But I wrote Brendan F. Like I don't even know in my chat. I just didn't know what to do that round. It was so confusing. So that was another round. Luck was just on my side.
Joining us in the discussion right now, we have Matt. Everyone, welcome Matt.
Hi.
Hey, Matt. Matt, do you have any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far, or on the round that we're in right now, where hold on, where Lorenzo was eliminated? Do you have any thoughts at all?
No, I think it's all been said. I was just chilling with my safety all game, so.
Yes, you were. You had safety all the time.
You don't got to rub it in, Matt. Come on. So what some people do not realize sometimes is in the game of Sequester, when there's a twist and there's a tie, the twist still exists. The rules are still the same, and that's periodically has resulted in some crazy occurrences because the twist will greatly affect the vote or what have you. But like in this round, if there's a tie, it still comes down to, even though there's only now 3 people to vote from as opposed to everyone else in the cast who aren't safe, it still is the second highest votes. So it still can be just as random. It can still be just as crazy. This is definitely a round where having an LOS would be useful to play before a tie happens, of course. But it just so happens, Lorenzo, you went.
So since the tie happened, what my room actually did was Brendan came in and Audrey came in. And she was like, let's all vote for Brendan because then he's going to be the highest vote. And Brendan, vote for yourself because you're not going to be second then. And that was a phenomenal gameplay.
Props to Audrey for that. And by the time I got to the rooms and everybody's saying we're all going to vote Brendan, I was like, okay, Brendan's got 8 or 9 or whatever votes on him. It's definitely going to be me or Alex at this point. And
you did the smart thing voting me. I should have voted you.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to play like not really an under the radar game, but kind of like a 3/4 on the radar game where I tried to split the difference between not being a big threat. Like I held out a bunch of information from my intro video. I got called out for it in the chat. But I thought that I didn't want to be an under the radar player because I knew that the big threats would kind of try to get those people out in those rounds. But I didn't want to be a big threat either because in case like the blind side happens. So I was trying to kind of skirt that like 3/4, 75% radar type of thing. Unfortunately, that's also the exact type of person who gets voted out in a second most votes goes home type of round. And so that kind of threw me for a loop. And I was forced to play left-handed and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think you did anything really wrong in that round from what I saw. I was just looking at my vote, and my vote was Lorenzo, I guess, question mark, because I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I would really love to see the vote specifically for that one. That has always had me the most curious. 1, how it tied, and then 2, how the tie shook out.
Yeah, I voted for Lorenzo that round.
Wow, see, I didn't know people were voting Lorenzo. I thought
voted for Audrey first because again I would be her, and then I voted for Lorenzo in the tie.
I thought I would be the highest number of votes, so I threw it on Brendan F, thinking he'd be the second highest. But after hearing all of you, it sounds like Brendan was the second or the actual highest.
Yeah, I did Brendan both times, thinking he would be the highest.
Yeah, so it seems like it was like 4 to 2 to 2 to 1 to 1 to 1 or something like that, 5 to 2 to 2, something like that. I've been like thinking about that because I couldn't if Miguel got votes, Audrey got votes, and the 3 of us all got votes. There had to have been at least 5 people with votes, which meant it couldn't have been 4-3-3-3. The 3 of us must have only gotten 2 votes in the initial round, and so that's
if Audrey had the most.
Yeah, that's probably.
I thought Audrey did have the most, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is a slight point for this me. This I found out that Matt and Audrey had like a final 2 or just had a strong bond. Because I remember being in a room, I think the following round or following 2 rounds ago, Audrey's name got brought up. And then, I think this is already Mike's round. Sorry, I'm a little late. But Mike and Audrey were saying Audrey, and Matt's face was like, no, not Audrey. And I knew it. I knew it.
You called that out. I was like, she was like the only person who I'd like gotten alone with the room with. So,
because everyone in the room was like, oh yeah, sure, Audrey, whatever. You were like,
well, Lorenzo, this is where we lost you. Do you have any final thoughts on the game as a whole, on minis? Are you planning on playing again?
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully I do plan on playing again. Hopefully the people who I end up playing again with next don't read the Twitch chat or the YouTube chat from last night because I got called out for a couple of things there, especially for things that I neglected to put in my video. But again, I think my best move of the game was kind of the Brendan O'Jordan drag round because I kind of like slid that in at the deadline. So at least I can take some solace in knowing that I sort of made a big move, even though there were still 18 people left in the game at that point. Definitely would love to play again. Probably will have to play a little bit differently next time, but hopefully this round doesn't do me in again. But again, thanks so much for the support to everybody. I only became a Sequester fan after seeing the Survivor International mini, so literally like 2 weeks ago. And ever since then, it's been super cool being part of the community. And yeah, Tyson Apostle and myself, kindred spirits.
He won the next time.
Yeah, maybe it's good omen. Also, one more thing. Taylor Swift's lucky number is 13, and I went out in 13th place. So I guess that's kind of a, a sign. Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you, Lorenzo. Be sure to follow Lorenzo down below on Twitter, on Instagram. Stay in touch. And Lorenzo, we will see you in the next mini you play.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. So after Lorenzo left, that moved us into the majority loses round. Is what we're calling on the chart. This was where Max was eliminated. Unfortunately, Jingle Max, the end of you. How did that come to be? Why was it Max? Maybe
someone played an LOS. Actually,
someone played an Matt.
I was
It
garbage.
was Matt. I knew it was
and
Matt.
I snatched one, heard my name, played it. This was an interesting round too, because it was if you vote the person out, you're up next. So I self-voted and played the LOS in the same
that's smart
message to Audrey. So again, that was my third time getting double safety. I got double safety with the Brendan O drag being safe. I got double safety with the whatever the other one was. I forgot already. And then that time, so I'm just trying safety. That was my only move. I was just chilling on that.
I was so mad at the way I played that round.
Yeah.
Like I was eyeing the LOS on the screen, and like I literally hit the enter key as soon as I saw it, and I got sniped. And I was gonna play, and I was like,
"You had an LOS, Max?"
I almost I saw it, I clicked it, I did not get it.
Oh, I thought you said you had one too. I was like, "Whoa."
No.
Matt, I did vote you this round, so good job with the LOS. I was happy because then my vote didn't get exposed.
Me too.
Me too.
I voted.
mad.
No, I voted. Yeah. So I voted for Max because I heard earlier that Max was saying my name. So I went around the rooms and I was like, I've been hearing my name, and I just wanted to make sure that people were not gonna vote for me. And they were like exposing it was Max. So I was like, okay, Max. And then in the last room, I think it was James, Audrey, and I don't remember who else it was. We were all in the same room, and we were like, okay, so let's vote Max. Okay, perfect. And then we voted Max.
Well, speaking of Audrey, we do have now Audrey joining us in the stream. Audrey.
This was starting against me? Like, what the
Here we go.
Audrey, do you have any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far or on the round that we're in currently?
I didn't know I was that close to going out on the mic round. I thought Mike was gone totally. Like, I didn't realize I was that close to going out on the mic round.
You were.
Yeah, and then that just really made me mad. But we're moving.
You were a big threat, though.
Yeah, you were. You were
moving
threat.
and shaking. Everyone was talking about you in a positive manner. They're like, "Well, me and Audrey decided in our last room." I was like, "Oh, damn!"
Well,
I was like,
I was like Brent Logama. I was like, say a name, don't be me, say a name. I wanted to play hard because women don't play hard in this game usually. Like
You
out
played
there, like a Joe.
It was a fierce game, Audrey.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to be like Joe the Show, like this is my game because I don't see women play like that, and I really wanted to play like that. But go on.
You certainly did, Audrey. You should be proud of yourself. You were a big target for a while, and for good reason, because you were such an intense player.
Yes.
But you played so well and so intensely that you survived as long as you did. So you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, okay, we can go around this time. Max, I was so mad when Matt played. I didn't know the votes were going on Matt, but when that LOS was played, I was like, I'm screwed for the next round with Max going home because I knew Max was going home.
And I think my biggest downfall was saying Miguel's name, and also then saying Alex and Matt's name this round. I really shot myself in the foot.
I don't think it was a mistake to say my name. I think a lot of people were saying my name.
Well, personally, for me, for that round, it worked out perfectly because I remember being in a room and saying, "Hey, I want." Oh, I think Alex was in. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to say Matt because I know Matt told Audrey this thing." And I knew that I wasn't gonna vote him. I knew I was gonna vote Max. So
You did. I voted Matt because of that. I was like, okay, I was very much a lot of the game. I was like, okay, give me a name. I'll write him down.
Oh no, I mean I voted Matt. Excuse me, I voted Matt. I didn't vote Max, even though I knew Max was the majority. But I knew that we told our room to do Matt.
Gotcha.
So
I was gonna
and then he
vote
had
for Matt.
LOS.
Yeah, I think since Max was not that big of a threat and the name wasn't like going around like that, I thought I'm gonna vote for Max because then I would not be because it's the second highest, so I wouldn't be nominated. So I vote for Max, and then like Matt plays the LOS, and I'm like, well, shit.
I was like, I should have just voted for Matt.
Yeah.
And I voted for.
That was a good gameplay, Matt. Matt, you
Yeah, I mean
killed
that
it.
was I lucked out hard on that one. I'm curious too. It sounds like there were enough votes, but like, what's the math if my self vote put it over the edge to like?
I think you were gone. It was only.
I don't know if
because it was only 3 votes.
Yeah, it was only 3 of us on Max.
Oh, yeah,
you had a ton of votes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I was terrified of you, Matt. There were 2 people that I was truly, truly terrified of. Alex was like a different category I was worried about, but Matt and Audrey were the 2 that I was like, if I do not get them out, but I didn't want to go after a woman so early. But Matt, I was truly, truly, truly terrified of you. I was like, I couldn't read you, but in like a good way. I'm like, he's sneaky as fuck, and I know it, and he will snipe anybody. That was the vibe I got, and I'm like, I can't have that around. I was so scared when you.
Matt, I felt like you and I were in a room together quite a bit, but I could never like get a read on you of like what was going on. I was like, I need to get him out of here. Like, what's going on?
To be honest, I was just lost, but I appreciate that.
No, you look so calculated. You were like,
yeah, you were so like focused.
You look intimidating, and you didn't speak first. You let us talk, and then you looked like you were processing everything. And then once we got in jury, I realized, oh, Matt's chill. But at first, I was like, Matt is going to get me. I have to get him. Like he's shining.
I didn't have that vibe from you, Matt. I
did.
After you played that LOS, you were on my list. I was like, he's got to stay. He's a name. Like he's a name out there.
Wait, Matt,
I played the LOS on you for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
I think someone said that.
No, I thought you played the LOS on yourself. I thought you might have been the person that got the most votes that round.
Yeah,
and that's
I thought
why I
it was
was going to drag you in my round because I thought that you used the LOS on yourself, which put me in a bad position.
Gotcha.
Also, Matt, since now you're in the chat room, you missed it earlier. How do you feel about the slip up when you said Phil's name and Phil was
that's why I'm bad at this game. I was so dumb.
That was one of my favorite moments. I didn't know what to say, and Tyra's like, "This Phil."
I felt so defeated at that point because I thought like my game was done. Like I have no chance anymore. And then luckily, like he went out. Like I voted him out. He went out that round. But at the same time, after that, I felt like people probably going to be really sketched out by that. So I felt really screwed at that point. Like I didn't want to give up because I owe it to myself to never give up, even though I felt hopeless. I just kept fighting, and I'm still mad at myself for that.
No, Jingle Max, you did good. I remember you ended up in a room together. You were like, Tyra, like, they're coming for me. Like, don't vote me. And for some reason, we were in a lot of rooms together. I felt like a bond. I was like, I would rather take you further on and we'll go together. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing it. I think it was Phil, actually. I was like, we're going for Phil. Don't worry, we're going for Phil. And that's how that ended, I think, if I remember.
It means a lot that you said that because actually, I'm so mad at how I played.
I thought you were a threat.
Yep.
Absolutely.
No, don't feel bad. You did great.
You did
I voted at that round. I didn't want you to go. You left, and I was like, oh, no, another threat.
Right.
Well, this was where we lost Max. Max, I'm gonna guess maybe that 998320886. Is that your last name? I don't know. It's a lot of numbers. So go ahead and follow Max on Twitter down below. Max, do you have any final thoughts on the game, on minis? Do you plan to play again?
I do have a couple of quick thoughts.
Please.
Like, my first thought is I'm still debating. I might take a week off of applying because like I need to get over like how bad I played because I am so mad at the really awful.
You did not play bad.
You really did.
You didn't.
On yourself a little bit because keep in mind all the people that went home before you. You made it to almost exactly the halfway point in the game. So there's plenty of other players before you that probably might feel worse than you, but no one should. The good thing about these games is it's not like Big Brother. It's not like Survivor where there's only like 1 season a year, 2 seasons a year, maybe, where players will probably never get to play again unless they achieve all-star status. The beauty of this community is that you can play again and again and again and again, and you should. So don't beat yourself up. learn from maybe some mistakes you may have made. You know, you can easily tweak the formula and come out swinging again the next time.
Yeah, and then there's a couple.
making.
And then there was a couple of other like things I didn't get to talk about, like votes that I kind of did. Like I did vote. I'll be honest. Like I voted somebody in my own room out the first round, knowing, which is Alex G, knowing he would not take me out that next round. And then I tried to vote out Renee on this last round because I thought I had two different logical points. One, I didn't think she was going to get any votes, and if I stayed, I'd be safe in the next round. Two, if everybody else was throwing out all her votes on her, then yay, a really big threat got taken out by accident. But yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts. Those are the kind of the moves I kind of tried to make, and even though it didn't work out, I'm really proud of myself for putting myself out of my comfort zone. I have bad social anxiety. I was so scared to do this, and I've never expressed who I am as a person publicly, because my whole life, like, I've never had anybody tell me that they love me for who I am or appreciate me for who I am. So I feel so happy I at least got to be myself and show that to people. And I want to tell people that play the game. Like, I played so scared and I had so much fun. I loved it. And I was true to who I am, and that's what I'm going to be proud of and take away from this.
Yes, man.
Hell yeah. We definitely love you, Max. You know, the good thing about this community is it is a very, very engaged and supportive one. And sometimes people get a little passionate and go a little extra. But for the most part, we all really support and love each other and build each other up. So we're glad to have you. Be sure to join the Facebook, the Discord, you know, hang out on Twitter with us, because there's plenty of opportunities to mingle with your fellow players and other alumni. And Max, I really, really hope that we see you play again soon.
Max, you're awesome.
Thank you, Max.
Bye, Max.
Follow Max.
Bye, Max.
Below,
Love you.
and we'll see you in the next one, Max.
Yeah.
So after Max's departure from the game, that moved us into the final jury round, or pre-jury round, I should say. And this was where James was eliminated, and you chose to drag Brian with you. So let's get into. I do believe it looks like it was a tie as well between you, Miguel, and Audrey.
No, it was we were the only three out.
We voted for Max.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's right. My bad. So out of the three of you, you were the only three up for elimination that round, and you were the one who ended up being eliminated. So why James? Why not Audrey? Why not Miguel? You know.
Well, I actually voted for myself because I did not want to vote.
That was dangerous.
I knew I was safe. I knew a lot of people were on my side. Well, I thought they were on my side. So I said, okay, I do not want them to drag me. So I'm going to vote for myself, and then I'm not going to risk it.
I said in a room, everything I heard was James and Audrey and James and Audrey. And I said in a room, and I think Alex were there, I don't remember else. And I said, that means it's going to be Miguel.
Yes,
because
yes,
everyone thinks it's going to be those two. So everyone's going to want to throw their vote in Miguel. And I voted for you. I thought for sure it would, but I felt confident because I thought I knew Audrey would drag my ass. And James I was in a room with, and obviously he dragged Brian, and he would have dragged me, and I didn't want him to go. So
I voted for Audrey, but I was also very worried she would drag me.
I wouldn't have dragged. I would have dragged James because that was the last thread I made. Because that's the last thread I made. Because I want my drags to be taken seriously in this game, and that's the last thing I said. And I would have dragged James.
Why?
You said to me, you said you were going to be bitter, and I believed your ass. But I didn't want you to go anywhere.
I believed you too.
That was the move, is because I've seen people play that round, and there's three of us, and that was the only power I had was I'm going to be petty, I'm going to be bitter, and I will drag you to the end, and that was my game plan that whole round, and because that was the play I had to make because I was such a big threat, but I thought it was gone this round. I'm friends with Jacob Gibson, who played in Friday's Mini, and I thought I was going on the same spot as him, and I thought that was so funny, but yeah, I thought it was gone this round, to be completely honest.
I thought you were too. I was shocked James went.
Yeah.
It was because I voted for myself, I think. Because I didn't want
yourself too.
I voted for myself.
I don't think I would have gone. I think Miguel would have gone, to be completely honest. If James should have voted for Miguel, Miguel would have gone. I don't think I was ever in danger. I think it was between James and Miguel. To be
Out of
completely
the 3
honest.
people up for elimination, 2 of you voted for yourself.
Selves.
I know.
I
But
voted for James.
that was the only play that I had
But it's only
because
because
I knew
feel
Audrey
like,
was gonna
yeah.
drag.
Yeah.
You could Miguel.
They had
I don't
contention.
think Miguel would have dragged you if you had voted for him. I don't
Yeah.
think he would have
I don't
dragged
think I
you.
would have.
I mean,
I don't think I would have hit the balls.
Yeah, I probably
But
wouldn't
yeah,
have dragged James. But it was intense. It was intense because
That was intense
there was
round.
there was
And I was like,
a lot of pressure in it. So I was like,
And
I
it's
can't
such-
vote Audrey because Audrey might take me out. But then
Right.
James, I've been very loyal to James, and I didn't want to vote him out. So I was like,
me
I can't vote for any of them. So I'm just gonna vote for myself.
So to comment on what Brittany said, we actually have Brittany
was putting in
backstage.
work.
Let's bring in Brittany. Who can actually talk on this herself. Brittany.
Oh, Brittany, girl. Brittany, girl. Where's Frosty?
Hello.
You can't
so-
win all of these competitions too.
Right, give it a rest.
The comp beast of the night right here down below. Brittany, do you want to touch more a little bit on what you just said in the chat there?
So yeah, like when the even votes round first started, we were in a room of 4 and Audrey immediately said, like, the 4 of us, let's vote James. And I went along with it, but I wasn't going to do it that round because I felt like I was good with James. But then I used that the next time I saw James. I was like, hey, James, Audrey's after you. And then what had happened that was so scary during that round, we got in a room during the tie where it was Audrey, James, myself, Miguel, and one other person. And it was crazy that I stayed because people that stay in the room get dragged. But I felt like if I left, James would have had the chance to tell Audrey, like, Brittany told me about you coming after me. And so I stayed in the room and voted James, praying that he would drag Audrey because they were actually kind of going at it in the room right before the round ended. So
I just didn't understand why she was coming for me the way
I
she was.
didn't
'Cause I was
talk
like,
to you
I
the whole
never.
game. We didn't
Why are you
talk the game.
screaming, young lady?
I
It ain't
didn't.
fair.
I just get passionate. I'm just
Yes,
like,
Dave.
I
I mean,
didn't
there's a
talk to
difference
you the
between
whole.
passion and yelling at people. Like,
Well,
that's
I didn't
completely
mean.
different, ma'am.
Sometimes I can't control. Like
You should learn how to because that ain't cool. Like,
I
anybody
did,
do
like
nothing
I
to
was
you.
just passionate. Like I didn't talk to you the whole game, and you said you were new, and I'm so
Listen,
into
why you
this.
screaming?
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to.
Fine, keep going.
But I'm just like, so like I didn't talk to you the whole game, and when you said that in your video that you were new, I was like, well, I've been in I haven't played, but I've been in this community and I've made friends. So I just really wanted to make it to jury, and then I hadn't talked to you the whole game, so I'm like, and nobody was saying your name, so that's why I said it, because I'm like, you're in a good spot, and
That makes
I'm a
sense.
target, and that was
Because
it.
I was confused. People were telling me that you were coming after me because I was new to this community or wasn't
It
a
was
part of this
just-
community. And I was like, what? I'm definitely a part of, I mean, the Sequester community is basically a conglomeration of the Survivor community and the Big Brother community in a sense. And so I've been a part of those communities for 20 years. So like, I was like, where is this even coming from? But also on Twitter, people know me as BB Team North. So I knew that people wouldn't.
I see. I follow you. I
Yeah.
follow you. See, I've listened to your podcast. I didn't know who you are. I
See,
literally
that was my thing too. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't know. So I was like,
like
yeah, it was
we
weird.
had barely talked the whole game, and I was like, nobody's come after him. And we just didn't talk, and that was like an easy excuse for me in your video, was like, you said you were new, and it's like, I haven't talked to him, and that's why. But I'm sorry I screamed at you. Sometimes I really just can't
I
control
was like, why is she so aggressive towards me? I have been so nice to people. I've been trying to love on everybody and spread some the festive. Like I love
Like,
being
I was
festive.
just-
I screamed
I was
too.
taken aback.
I know
But
the pain.
your screams. You were more so just like frantic. I was like, here goes frantic Fred coming in the room again. Like, let's do that.
I mean,
but
that was
I
what
totally
made me
get it.
so scared.
Yeah,
that was what scared me about Audrey. She was so frantic, and it worked for her. It's not a bad thing. But
Audrey, I
she
think
was so
I got
chaotic,
you
and I was-
frantic with that hinky vote.
Yeah, I would have been like more calm. It was the hinky vote, and then like I knew my name was going around, and then I was just like, I have to be this way the rest of the game, or I'm going home because I created a target on myself from when you threw that hinky vote, and it just like I had to play big from that moment on because I was like,
I needed.
yeah, because I needed to, and like that's what just happened, and and also I like that kind of gameplay. I like the people who scream and fight, and that entertains me. I wanted to entertain the people, and I thought I was being entertaining.
Hell yeah.
For
And
sure.
James, on Twitter, I saw you said you almost dragged me or Audrey, so I'm very grateful you did not drag me. Man, thank you.
No, I
thought I might get dragged.
The obvious
It was
choice
Audrey.
was for me to drag Audrey because she said she was going to drag me, and I don't understand why Brent says that I needed to be more bold because Audrey even said she was going to drag me. So it's like I really didn't have a choice in that moment. I was either going to go or she was going to take me. So. But I just didn't know Brian because I didn't have really any. That's the one thing I realized is that I didn't do a good job at really solidifying any like alliances, and I need to do better at that if I ever play again. But my room 1 alliance with Renee, Brian, and Jordan. When Jordan left, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I felt like I had Renee and Brian, and when Brian voted me out that round, I was like, okay, I guess I don't have anybody. You coming with me, sir?
That was the thing for me. I didn't feel like it was the time to throw a vote. So yeah, James, I voted for you honestly, knowing that I hadn't talked to you too much. And
right.
Like I was like, all right, if I'm the one, it's because you don't feel my game. But I wasn't going to be the one who.
And see, if I would have known that it was you that played the LOS the last round, I probably would have dragged you because that put me in this position. Because I really was like, if I throw because I just voted for Max because it was kind of a throwaway vote for me because I was like, I'm just trying to stay out of the firing, like the fire range of this. So the next round I was like, okay, I'm just trying to be safe and make it to jury this time, and then I want to turn it up because I didn't want to play quiet, but I found myself in a spot where I felt pretty safe with so many people. And I felt like I had a pretty good social game where I would go into rooms and there were always people in those rooms that I felt like I had some kind of connection with, even if it wasn't a solid alliance. Yeah. So, Brent, we'll talk later.
But I think that's the catchphrase. Brent, we'll talk later.
Right. So, but I did, in retrospect, I was like, I should have voted for Miguel because he wouldn't have known that I voted for him. And I didn't want to like compromise my loyalty.
Wait, I would have known.
Moment.
Yeah,
I know you would
have exposed if he went.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about. So it was like,
yeah, me too. Because like I know if I voted for you, you probably would have dragged me because I was loyal to you. We had a thing. And then if I would have voted for Audrey, I knew like she might have taken me. So I was like, I gotta take the safe route. I gotta be in the game. I gotta stay in the game.
Sucked.
But I think the point is that that wasn't the safe route.
Right.
So I think you got lucky, but that wasn't the safe route.
Of course.
I don't think.
Yeah.
It's crazy because this round was really interesting because I really didn't want Miguel and James to leave, but I really thought Audrey was going to drag me if I voted her. And I think that just like the game, we're underestimating Brittany's role in this. Brittany came to me and James and let us know that Audrey was saying our names. And it really, really just, messed with, my mind. So, yeah, Brittany, do you have anything to say about that?
Me?
You played good.
I respect it.
Played good. And you know what? You made me feel comfortable when you did it. It wasn't like, Melissa, you were like, listen, I'm looking out for you. Audrey saying your name, girl, so get in there. And I was like, all right, I'm out this room, going to her. And yeah.
Well, that was genuine, Tyra, because like I know I'm usually not one to stick with like the first room alliances, like screw that. But I just really liked you. And so that was genuine. But because I was safe for so much of that pre-jury phase, I just did a lot of like subtle work like that.
You did it.
Like, letting people know what was going on kind of thing. Just to fan flames between targets. So when the time came, the big targets would go at each other while trying to keep targets. I voted out a lot of like quieter people. The best thing.
And I think the thing is with when you do that, when you hear somebody saying your name, you get sidetracked because it's like you want to go after that, but it kind of like, I don't know, disorients you in a way. So it was really interesting because you want to know the information, right? So you know how to move forward, but then it has you could be tunnel vision. So I wish I played that a little better. But it's not about me, it's just about James and Brian.
Well,
no, this was the first. This was my
James,
first
sorry.
mini. Oh, go ahead. You can just bring me out, and I'll say it in my
Sure. So there's James's Twitter right there. If you want to go ahead and follow the BB Team North. James, please.
Yeah. Great Twitter too.
No, I was saying this was my first mini. I'm friends with Aman, and he played, and that was the first mini that I watched when the RHAP one, and then the influencer one when he won, and I was like, this looks so fun. And so then my other friend Nick played, and so I was just watching more and more and listening to their experiences, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in doing this, especially being in quarantine. There's just like, it's something fun to do. So no, thanks. This was awesome. Y'all are amazing. I'm so happy that I did it, and I would love to play again. I think I would do a lot better a second time around because I didn't really know what I was getting into, and I didn't really think that my wine was going to hit me as strong as it did. For a loop, like it was rough. But no, I love this community. I do have a podcast called Julie Girl Pod, and I created it because I didn't feel like there was a lot of representation in the podcasting world for minority voices and for different perspectives. And especially during Big Brother 19, it was really, really difficult to be a part of the community and not feel understood and not have a voice out there like standing for people that were being mistreated and like have that conversation even out there. So I created the podcast, but it's kind of fun. Like I try to have fun with it, and I do it with my friend Zach. And so yeah, Julie Girl Pod. But yeah, y'all are great. Thank you so much. And
You're amazing.
Love you.
You're amazing.
Love you, James.
Thank you, James.
Check out
Be sure
that
to follow James down below. James, of course, took with him Brian. Brian.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Any final thoughts on the game? So you plan on playing again?
Yes, I definitely plan on playing again. This was my second mini, and the first one I also got 10th place, also got kind of screwed over right at the end there. So I don't know, I'm honestly like really proud of the game I played both times. I think for some reason I'm really good at just kind of sinking my teeth in, and like nobody comes after me, and I'm kind of bouncing around, and people seem willing to work with me. And both times it just kind of came short a little bit at the end. I will say I only voted for James because I felt like he probably wasn't the one that was going to go. But the moment the votes were read out, I was like, I'm completely fucked. Like he's totally going to drag me because. But I do want to say one thing is that. So I watched a little bit of the Podquester. What's it called?
Commentary.
Commentary, yeah. And when I got dragged, like the whole group was like a round of applause, like great job, like you made the right move. But I wanted
because
to say,
of Audrey.
No, they were applauding that I was being dragged. But I want to say
it wasn't that we were applauding you being dragged. It was applauding that others.
Audrey was not dragged.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah. I mean, the point is, like, I do think he made the right move in dragging me. I don't think he should have dragged Audrey or Brittany or who else was up there. I don't know. Because I'm a huge fan of Sequester. I've been a fan for like over a year now, just watching and playing. And I'm always so angry when people make bad choices with things like dragging out these bigger, aggressive players. And like Audrey earned her spot in the jury, and definitely more than I did.
Yeah.
So I'm not bitter. I had a good time. I'll play again, probably not for a couple months, but it's all good.
Brian, it's really wonderful that you're a really good sport about that, because so many people sometimes will leave and take it very personally. And even with the commentary, again, it was no slight against you or your character as a person. It was purely that obviously we see so many times these bigger players get pulled due to bitter draggings.
Right.
And when that doesn't happen, we usually try to celebrate it so that way that can become more of the norm in the culture and the community. But I think someone was starting to say something. James, was it you?
I didn't want to be bitter and drag Audrey for that, because she was being loud and aggressive about me, and I was like confused, but also I understood that she was playing a game, and I was proud that she actually made it work. And so I was like, I feel like it would be wrong for me to drag her in this moment when there's other people that I could drag that I think I made the right choice. And I do apologize though, Brian.
No apology needed. You made the right choice. Hashtag robbed king. That's me.
Well, thank you both, James. Thank you, Brian. We really appreciate you not only playing, putting yourself out there for us all to watch and jeer or cheer at or whatever, but also for taking the time to come be on the podcast with us. Obviously, these things go on for a long time, so your time commitment is greatly appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you both, hopefully not too long in the future. As we said, a week in Sequester can feel like a month. So if you wait too long, it's going to feel like a few years. We'll miss you. We'll miss you.
Adore you all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
After those two departed the game, that moved us into our first jury round. Now, Tyra, I do know we were on a little bit of a time crunch with you, but it actually is perfect because this is
perfect timing.
Not perfect, unfortunately. This is the round where you were eliminated.
Yeah.
So let's touch on that. This was
History can't repeat.
History can't repeat, and this is where the 12 Days of Christmas poem revisited again for yet another round of safety, which saw Matt, Miguel as the only two being safe. So those two were the only ones who were safe that round, and Tyra, you unfortunately became the first juror. So how did that come to be? That's what I'm dying to know.
I felt pretty safe this round, and I knew Tyra was coming after me, and I said I would wait until jury, and I did, and then I knew nobody had voted for Tyra, and it's history can't repeat, so you just gotta take your shot there with history can't repeat sometimes.
I really feel like I caused that feud between you two, which saved
it was more Matt. It was you
yeah.
putting me up, and then Matt telling me that was Tyra coming after me more than anything.
It was Matt, Brittany,
words
and Kelly.
beautifully. Way to go.
That
Thank you,
told
Matt. Wrong way.
So, I remember I heard Brittany, so when I went to another room, they asked me like, what name have you heard? And I was like, well, I heard Brittany.
And I voted with you, Miguel. I actually voted Brittany that round.
Yeah, so like the only other person I think I hadn't voted for, and I didn't want to vote for like a lot of people that were in it, so I was like, I have to choose Brittany. I have to go with it.
I was floored when Tyra went out. I voted for Audrey, and I had some internet issues that round. The ghost of Kevin Falk, the Christmas ghost of Kevin Falk, was hanging me that night, and so I had no idea. I had said Audrey, like I said, I was scared of her anyways, and I had voted for her. And then when the name Tyra came down, I could not believe it. I could not believe it.
I don't think
Tyra,
Renee, you would had enough votes to get me out because people had voted for me before. I don't think I was never going out that round.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't know, but I was scared for myself. I was scared because I knew my name hadn't been out much before. I was very worried about myself in that round. So
It was actually one of the rounds I felt safe.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's key for
it was between us girls for that round for sure. Like it was between the girls.
And I was scared. I was scared when we got to jury. All 5 of you girls were still left in the game.
Yeah,
I thought you guys had a secret alliance.
Let's bring in the last woman from the game. We have Kelly joining. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
When we got
Hi.
you were there. Though, I looked around and I was like, "Oh my god, all 5 of these women could beat me." I was like,
what a crew of hotties.
That's nice. Wait, can I say my point of view? So where it started was I was in an initial room, and then the name was Brittany F, right? Because nobody voted for Brittany. We love Brittany.
Yeah.
And so when that was the name, it was unfortunate because I really felt like I could ride with Brittany longer, like generally more than most people with Brittany. And then at that point, I said I wanted to hurry up and disperse because I wasn't sure what everyone else was going to say. And I had a feeling that Audrey was going to say my name, but I wasn't going for Audrey that round. For some reason, I should have, because everyone was already voted, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that. So when the time was almost up and I switched to, I don't know, I think Kelly just popped in the room or Brittany said, Audrey, say your name. And I said, peace. I'm going to the other room to see what's going on. I'm trying to get as much room to. And as soon as I got that and I came, I think I said, Audrey, why are you saying my name? The time was done. It was over. And I was like, I knew it was me that moment. And I knew I could not find an LOS because this is my first time doing it. I don't have a second screen to like be zoned in on the conversations and LOS. So that's something hopefully if I play in the future, I can do that. But yeah, I knew I was done that round. I was like, dang, Audrey got me. Go girl, you got me.
Well, I wanted to say, like, if I had so my plan that round, once I realized it was between the girls, I was going to go for Audrey. But I popped into one room and heard Tyra. And then I was like, I don't want to vote Tyra. I was like, I'm going to go spread Audrey. So I hopped into another room and it was Matt and someone else in there. And Matt was like, well, Miguel said you. I was like, oh, well, Alex and Brendan have voted for me. Like, it won't get traction. And they said, oh, okay. And I was like, I've heard Tyra. And then I bounced back and the round ended. And I was so bummed because I felt like it was me versus Tyra. And I just felt like I had to vote for you, but I hate it because I wanted to go deep with you. Like, if I had
You mentioned Brendan. Let's bring in our final jury member before Tyra has to go. We have Brendan here. All of you, we have the whole jury here. It's amazing.
And the crazy thing is, sorry to interrupt TR really quickly.
Please.
When I went back in the room before the time was up, and it was Alex, Brendan, and Audrey, you guys were all laughing, and I literally was like, they all turned to me, and I was like, Brendan, you better not turn on me in my head. And then I was like, I'm going home. Well, I'm home, but logging off. Yeah, sorry, TR.
No, that was basically it. Before Brendan, Kelly, anyone, do we have any final thoughts for Tyra before we have to send her on her way here?
I was bummed when you went.
Tyra, I was trying to save you really hard. I wanted to get Brittany out. The whole feud really fast between like you and Audrey. From the beginning, I was saying like this is not a real thing. Like someone just put this out there to like start shit, which it turned out that is exactly what happened. And it was Alex. But I just kept trying to like get you guys to talk to each other because like I knew within the girls if we were infighting, like that was gonna fuck us. So I was like, you guys just like work it out. Like this is not a real feud. Like someone just is making shit up, and I feel like it just never really. We couldn't get us all on the same page.
Agreed. And I didn't see you enough, Kelly. But when I saw you, I had good vibes. Yeah.
There are too many people. 22 people. It's hard to see everyone.
So many rounds.
Yeah, I feel like Tyra. I had the exact same feeling. I mean, I hope you must have a great set of friends in real life because all of us were just like, wow, we would love to like play with you and keep you around. And I like.
That's why you were a threat, Tyra, because you were so likable. I mean, I was really true when I said we need more POC women women on the board, and I was true to that. But when I heard you say my name, it was like fire flight, and I was going.
What did you say? You out at Jeremy? I was like, okay. Jeez. No, I understand. It was a game. I wish. It's like it's my first time, so I know we gotta go soon, but I really wish I had a little more time to really like fight for myself. I wanted to test myself and see if I could get out of a sticky situation. I feel like the minute I really was in trouble, I got out. And, next game, hopefully I can play it better and just move. Because that round, I stayed a little too long in that first room. And I should have just moved as soon as quick because I knew I was vulnerable. But you know what? It is a game. And it was great.
Yeah, so
it was great.
One last thing for you, Tyra. I mean, that's history can't repeat. The only reason you were vulnerable is because no one had ever voted for you. Your name had never come up before. Like you played a great game. Yeah.
A lot of times, the most likable people are the ones that get lost on this twist. So you can definitely chalk up your likability factor to your reason for leaving here. Tyra, do you want to speak really briefly at all about your social media down below, what the different ones are, and what people can find?
Yes, thank you guys so much. So my Twitter, I don't use it that much, but I'm going to start using it now. I love the community, love being part of it. My Instagram is my personal account. You can follow me. And then the last one, growing up in your 20s, for anyone that goes through the ups and downs in your 20s, and sometimes a roller coaster and you're uncertain. Sometimes it's fun. It's just a page to reflect on that, and it's a safe space, so you can check it out. And I just want to say thank you all. This was a great game, a great experience. I'm glad I put myself out there, and I told all my friends about it, like, you're weird. I'm like, no, I'm a gamer. Let me start. I'm claiming it. Hopefully I'll play another Sequester Mini or another Sequester Live, the one they film somewhere or whatever. I'm down for all of it. So thank you all, and enjoy your sunny days after this.
Love you too.
Bye, Tyra.
Love you.
Bye, Tyra. Thank you, TR.
Of course, yes. Be sure to follow Tyra. Check out those various pages and show your support. After Tyra left,
that brought us into the second jury phase, and this was yet again where the 12 Days of Christmas thing allowed for safety. The people who ended up being safe this round
Alex.
was just Alex. Yeah. So it was tethers. Yeah. So there were the tethers. It looks like we had Audrey and Kelly tethered. We had Brendan F and Renee tethered. We had Alex B and Miguel tethered, and we had Brittany and Matt, who ended up being eliminated, tethered. So
wow,
let's get into it. Why was it Matt?
Oof. That was a very
We
intense
got to
round.
a room of 4. It was also it can't repeat itself.
Yeah. No.
That was the round before. I'm sorry.
I think what happened is there was 2 rooms of 4
Yes.
to start. We came up with plans and stuck with it, and then that created a tie.
Yeah, I should throw my vote. I should throw my vote and let Miguel go. This was a huge mistake for me in this round. When I've been thinking of it, I should not vote Matt. I should have thrown and let Miguel go here, and I was.
If you had thrown it, we would have tied again.
Would you have thrown it the first time, Audrey?
Yeah, I would have thrown it the first time, and then
the
Miguel would have gone. That's what I should have done. This was the worst mistake of my game, because I think because me and Matt were in a room together, and then that's what sunk me in the next round, is because Matt goes home, and I'm the only one in the room, and your 6 are in another room, and it's like Audrey, and then I come in that room, and I'm dead to rights. So I should have flipped the first time on voted someone else, and then Miguel go here.
Yeah, neither of you or Kelly's votes would have counted.
Yeah, and then Miguel would have gone.
Yep.
See,
I
wouldn't have
almost,
liked
I almost flipped on you, Miguel. I'm sorry, but then at the last second, Brendan said he's like, "No, I'll vote Matt." So I was like, "Okay, I'll vote Matt again." It was
that was surprising to me. I heard Miguel was
I remember I came in the room and I was like, I know you guys are switching votes. I know you guys are flipping, and then everyone was like,
I was going to. I really did.
I flipped.
I didn't want to go to a wheel. You did flip, Audrey. Well,
I did flip. Yeah, I flipped on the second one to Miguel. So if you would have flipped, I think it would have been a 2-2 tie and gone to a will. So
Brendan, did you flip on the tie too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So that canceled, because I didn't flip, so that canceled me out. Brittany, you said
me and Miguel's were the only votes. Brittany, who'd you vote for?
So I voted for Miguel with Matt originally, and then on the tie, I canceled
There
it.
it is.
So
Me and Miguel's votes counted, and then Brittany's vote counted, or didn't count with Matt. So actually, it was just me and Miguel.
It was you and Miguel.
Yes, let's go, Miguel. Sorry, I almost turned on you.
See, I thought this was such a good round too. It's because Brittany and I kind of finally got together, where Brittany and I have known each other a little bit before. Personally, we no pre-gaming, none of this. Yeah, so it was nice that we finally got. And then for me, with Brendan too, is Brendan and I had not talked the whole game. I don't think we'd been in a room together. And then all of a sudden, he was my partner, and I was like, "Oh, good, we can work together." And I felt so good about him instantly. I felt like we were locked in, at least till the end. I'm sorry, but I felt
we'll get there.
Yeah, I know.
That was the fun part with I think it was Brittany and Audrey in that room, where I was like, I truly am not saying vote her out, but I just like have not seen Renee, so like someone tell me something good, because she seems like cool, but like I that's that weird thing where you just miss people in the game, and like I think that's easy to get targeted that way, and like sometimes hopefully like worked out, it like kept us both around a little bit, like being that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, and Renee and I, when we checked in during that round before the tie, we had said like Miguel and Matt need to go. Like those are the next 2. They're kind of quieter. Like Alex and Brendan are so obvious. Like Miguel and Matt next, and so that's why it was easy for me to just like cancel Matt's vote and let him go there. Even though that was probably my biggest mistake.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, if I had canceled my vote with Miguel, then there would have been no active
vote, and we've gone to a wheel.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So Brendan, you last second telling me that you were gonna flip to Matt. I literally had told everyone else. I was like, no, I'm flipping. And then I was like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm voting Matt. I was like, okay, me too.
That's where I was blindsided. I was like, I thought the flip was happening.
It was.
I was literally like chasing
was,
Miguel around. I'm like,
flipped,
I'm not gonna let him try to convince anyone of anything. Like it happened, and I'm gonna lock it down.
Well, Miguel came in the room, and he's like, "They're flipping. I'm out." And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't know."
Matt, you did a great job. I thought you did a great job there. I'm like, that's so tough. Like I was like, also obviously I really like Miguel, but like voted for Miguel first, and then it's just that last room thing where it's just that energy of like, I think I don't know if I was the first one to say it or something, but that room I hopped in with Alex, and then like Miguel had also just been there. It was like, boom, let's flip. It feels like you can lock it in last second. Yeah. Sorry, bud. But I thought you did an excellent job hustling there.
Yeah.
It was intense. It was,
was
very
nothing
intense.
personal, Matt. I just didn't want to go to the wheel.
Yeah, I didn't want the wheel. I was scared shitless of the wheel.
The
I
wheel
didn't want to be
freaked
wheel
me
out. Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I had
Yeah,
to
it
break,
would probably be
so,
terrible to be wheeled out.
It surprised me it broke that way, but yeah, it was gonna happen.
That was a good one today.
Well, Matt, do you have any final thoughts on the game at all? Do you plan to play again? This was your first mini, is that correct?
It was.
You did a fantastic
I gotta
job.
take a moment. I still got called out in the chat for. This was also my first round being safe or not safe since like evens.
Whoa!
I rode safety really long into this game. Unfortunately, the game that I wanted to play of like being the shark did not happen, and so caught myself on that. Tried to adapt to like a quieter game style. And I'm really cool with where I ended up. So it's fun getting to win some comps. It is an interesting case study in like I'm able to have good internet, and those were very much like snappy comps. So I'm curious to see. I like the comp style, but I'm curious to see how it evolves to make sure it kind of is fair or it shakes it up between rounds more, if that makes sense. Yeah. What else do I want to say? I think that's about it. I had a fun time, and yeah, I was like I said, I was comfortable going out where I did because you all impressed me so much. Like I was like, as soon as I jumped on the feeds after I got out, I was like, damn, all 7 of these people came to play. This is great.
You did too, Matt. You did a good job.
Yeah, you did really good, Matt.
Yeah, and Matt, I think that's like a great point, and I think what I like about this is the way like society gets into this game, and like that's like an interesting element of classicism when you talk about like just being faster internet sometimes is more expensive, and that's a different thing. And so I think that's like a great idea of like figuring out a way to make this something that like your internet speed isn't something like obviously it's an internet game, so if your connection doesn't work, unfortunately it's hard, but like finding a way to equalize that I think is really cool.
Yeah, because I have really slow internet, and I got most of those answers right, and then I was just too slow. And then
me too. Coming in, I was ready because I was very much looking for early targets, thinking that I would be one. I was ready to target people for bad internet, but once I got in the game, it felt too cruel. I was like, it's rough because like. I don't know. That's a rough spot. I don't. The bad internet's tough because you can't help that.
My take on the targeting people for bad internet is that it's a waste of a vote because if their internet's that bad, they're going to
go out.
Act.
I didn't think about it that way. I was just worried I would be the target, so I was looking for any and everything.
Yeah.
But I never ended up doing it because it felt like a little. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. As the chat said and as they said, you really did play a really great game. And for this being your first mini, you should be proud of yourself. Hopefully, it's not your last mini. I hope
not either. We'll see what happens. You got my Twitter up there. I'm not a Twitter person. It's the same handle on Instagram if you want to talk to me. But I'll try to talk to you all on Twitter. It'll be fun.
There you go. So follow Matt on Twitter and on Instagram. Let's beef up his Twitter followers. Let's give him the Podquester bump. Go double his, 2 followers to 4. Come on.
There's no tweets, so I don't know what you're going to go there for.
Well, that's where the tweets are going to start to come in. The people are going to be thirsting for them. They're going to want them. They're going to need those tweets. Thank you, Matt. We will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Matt.
So after Matt left the game, that moved us into the bounty hunter round. And this was where Audrey finally was eliminated. So how did that come to be?
It was
easy. We were in a room of 6 and she was not there.
What I should have done is played on the room 2 alliance of me, Kelly, and Brendan from our original room, and like I should have thrown Brittany under the bus more in that round because I had her as my bounty, and then maybe if I threw her under the bus more, I could have got her out. But I think I was dead to rights, and I was just like, I was really happy where I finished, but I think I was dead to rights this round.
For a minute, Miguel and Brittany got into it there.
We talked after the show. Everything's cool.
Well, and I was going to say, like, it actually really screwed me over that Miguel was my bounty because I was going to do that anyway. I was going to say, my bounty is this person, but I don't care.
I used that to discredit you, though. Because I didn't want Miguel to go. I didn't want Miguel to go. Miguel was my homie.
I was just seeing like how you kept saying stuff, and I was like, I stated my points, but then I just shut up because I saw you kept going, and I was like, she's digging her own hole. I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna lay back.
And it was one of those things where we were all in that room, and then Kelly had said she had Audrey as the bounty, and I think all of us were good
like
with
that.
Kelly
We're
having-
fine with
cool
Kelly having
with it.
safety. Yeah.
So it was like she's
I
not there.
If you guys, I was gonna push for her really hard, so I was so happy when you guys were
Yeah,
like,
but
I was like, oh, that was
I think it
easy.
screwed you, Kelly, because then you were a target. If you would have kept me, you would have had somebody in front of you at 5 and at 4, and I think that was a mistake for you to push me at that point. You should have probably tried to push Miguel or Brittany, because then I think you were locked for 4 because I was such a big target and you needed that in front of you, because then Renee turned on you because you were so likable and you were such a big target. I think you needed me in front of you, and I think that was a mistake in your game.
I didn't want Miguel or Brendan out.
I actually voted for in the 5. I actually voted for Renee. I didn't vote for Kelly. And
Well,
So Miguel and I had an
you weren't in the
11
room, Audrey, but I right away announced that Brendan was my bounty, and I knew actually more than anything that would make him safe, because I knew people wouldn't want me to be safe. But I wanted Miguel and Brendan. I was scared of you 4 ladies teaming up on us.
For me, I felt like Miguel was the last of like the more under the radar, and he was the only person that I knew that had said my name. And the reason I just kept talking and talking is because last time I played and I tried to like out someone, I didn't filibuster enough, and they rebutted, and then I went out. So I was just like, I'm gonna say his name and filibuster. Like, I feel like Renee will vote for me, and I thought that maybe Alex and Brendan would vote with me because we had worked together. Like, I'm just gonna try to filibuster, like, to me, it just made the most sense to keep Audrey one round deeper, like literally one round deeper, because of what a big target she was. I was all about like keeping the big targets to the end.
And I did. I voted for Miguel. I voted with you, Brittany, on that.
I should have done that, and there would have been a tie. I voted for
Well,
Brittany.
that was the problem, Audrey. You should have. I know you were scared of Brittany, but you should have jumped on with Brittany against Miguel.
I know that was my mistake.
easy
That
to
would have
say
been 3, but I don't think it would have been a 3-4 on me.
Yeah, because
Miguel,
Brendan, and Kelly.
Miguel said he voted for me. It would have been a tie, I think.
Yeah, it would have been a tie. But
This round you voted Renee?
No, I didn't vote this round for Renee.
I
actually
said
voted
at
for
5.
Audrey.
Yeah,
I
okay.
voted for Audrey.
Yeah, so we did have 4 votes on Audrey.
2-2-3.
Yeah.
It was a 2-2-3.
And Audrey, a lot of it was that you just weren't in the room when it
I
started.
know. I was like, when Matt was gone, I was like, I'm done. And like, I tried to hop, and then it was.
Someone even goes, "Let's just do the original plan."
Room, yeah.
And Audrey goes, "What's the original plan? Me?"
Yeah, I was like, I knew it. You're like the original plan. I was like, it's me. I was like,
And then someone goes, "I didn't hear the original plan," and I was like, "No, you did. Don't panic. Do the original plan."
like, oh, it's me.
I think it was Brendan. Brendan was like, "I didn't hear what this original plan was." I was like, "No, you did."
No. I mean, this was the start of. There was so much chaos, and there's floating, and then there's like, do you want to try and shout over everyone as they're like, really stirring the pot? And sometimes the chef, you got to let things simmer a little bit, and then you can stir it a little bit.
Yeah.
This was so much fun, guys. I had a ton of fun with you.
Yeah. And no hard feelings for anyone.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Miguel. Like, I feel some people I think were unhappy with me for how hard I went for you, maybe not realizing that you had said my name, but like it was just all game, nothing personal.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Sometimes it's just about like the game you know versus the game you don't. Like, I knew Alex and Brendan's game. I knew Audrey's game. I kind of knew that Renee and Kelly had also maybe been more under the radar. Miguel, like, I was just not sure. And then once Kelly like defended you, I was like, oh, well, now he really has to go. So I did a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I really didn't want to lose Miguel.
That was clear.
Yeah.
And that obviously comes in later, but that was.
And I was
for me.
so worried too, because I just wasn't sure what my path was, which is why I wanted to keep him, because I felt like Miguel and I were actually pretty tight. But that was why I pushed for. Well, that's why I stuck to the Audrey plan.
But it worked for you.
I want
you were safety bounty anyways.
Yeah, I was like, why not?
Kelly, if she wasn't your bounty, would you have still pushed for her, or was that mostly the contributing factor?
It depends on who my bounty was, I think.
Yeah.
Because like in my last game, I didn't go for my bounty at all. I was just like, I don't care. But I think it would have just depended on the name.
Okay. Just curious.
This was fun. Fun round.
Well, this was where Audrey, we lost you.
Not fun.
Thanks. I I really want to play again. The way I played this game was also because I know Audrey is doing All-Stars and there's 4 more All-Stars in, and I wanted to prove myself as an All-Star and to get in one of those games to play with those people, to prove myself to play. And I thought this was a great case for myself to get on one of those games. And if I couldn't win, I wanted to play this type of game so maybe I could get on an All-Star game. Because that was like halfway in my mind. Because there's 4 All-Star games. That's like 80 spots, and I want one of those spots so bad to play with those people.
There's 5 of them. There's 5 Fridays in July too. So.
Well, I was counting the one that already happened.
Sorry.
Right.
So
there's
okay.
4 more left. That's
4 more,
also why I applied for this game, was because there's 4 the most. So I was just trying because I think that would be so cool to play with those legends and those type of games, and that's why I wanted to do that.
Thank you, Gabe.
Yeah, thanks, Gabe.
Well, Audrey, I really do think that you demonstrated the type of performance that would be needed to classify as an all-star. I think if Audrey, I know she's not currently watching us right now because she's doing the international mini, but she saw the way you played. We all saw the way you played. You played very, very ferociously in a way where so many people were rooting for you, and you were such a big target and managed to make it this far, which is very, very impressive when you play as fierce of a game as you played. So if you're not in an All-Stars game, I frankly would be surprised.
Yeah, just the one last thing is I have made so many great friends in this community, and I would also just Jacob Gibson, I know I mentioned him before. He was so helpful. I love him so much. And also Sparks, I am sorry for going after you last week because you voted out my boy Dane, and I know that was a wheel situation, but I'm sorry. Please forgive me for kind of going after you for voting out Dane last week. I kind of threw shade on him, so sorry about that, Sparks. Love you, Brent.
Any other final thoughts, Audrey, or final? We're gonna hopefully see you in an All-Stars mini, but
I'll do a draft. Like I've been a subscriber to PodQuester since the very beginning.
Well, we'd love to hear that, Audrey. I love that.
And so I would love to do a draft. I'll do more commentaries. Any way you want to have me, just DM me. I'll come do them all.
I will definitely send you a DM, Audrey, because we would love to have you back. Go follow Audrey on Twitter. Show your support, show your love, and Audrey, we look forward to seeing you.
Bye.
Bye, Audrey.
Bye, Audrey.
Bye.
Well, after Audrey left, that brought us into a round where Kelly was safe due to Audrey being her bounty. And this was where, Brittany, you bit the dust here. Let's talk about that. Let's get into it.
I'm still shocked.
Honestly, like, when the bounty round came up, I had Miguel as my bounty, and it was like, okay, I need to go after him anyway. Now he's my bounty. That's going to look bad. And speaking up here, I'm going to, like, put the target on my back. But it was like a gamble. I felt there was merit into going after Miguel the way I did, but I didn't want to just sit back and do nothing. And so I was like, this is a gamble, but I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to be proud that I fought. And so once Miguel didn't go there, I knew this round that I was like dead man walking, it was done. But I just continued to fight. I still felt like there was a lot of merit in voting out Miguel here. I think Kelly was a big roadblock to that. Like, I would say Kelly was one of the biggest roadblocks to me not getting further in this game because of that alliance, which is okay, respect. So it was just, I don't even remember this round. It was a blur. I think there was just a lot of yelling again.
I have a vivid memory of it. We were yelling, and then you two were talking, and so you two started not fighting, but going back and forth. Yeah. And I was so happy. I was like, how am I not getting targeted right now? And then Kelly goes, I'm leaning towards keeping Miguel. And I was like, me too. Let's vote out Brittany. And she goes, no, I'm thinking about voting you. And it's so funny because the beginning of the round, I thought I was in trouble. And then I got so comfortable. And then Kelly caught me so off guard. I was like, me?
Alex, I voted for you like literally every round. Like, I
believe it.
Like so many times.
I believe that.
Oh,
but
I was on to you so hard. I just I knew
It was funny because all my friends, after I unloaded my phone, and they go, they're still talking about the intro video at Final 6. And I was like, I can't believe it left that big of an impact on the game.
Well, I think this is at some point in the arguing when like it had gone on, when I think I said like, okay, Renee, Kelly, Alex, we are obviously deciding here, like therefore, and like that just puts you in such a strong position. And Alex, like again, credit to you, like could have easily we could have turned the 5 right there, and you know,
shocked.
It's the momentum that of the round.
This is
and,
also right. I did have an LOS though.
Yeah, I
did
was
have an
fairly
LOS.
confident you did. That's why I wasn't even.
Yeah, I forgot that I did. I was playing that no matter what, but I didn't want you guys to vote me. I wanted people to think they should take me further. And so when Kelly brought up my name, I pooped my pants. I was like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for Alex.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to lose Brittany. Like I wanted her to stay.
Yeah, you wanted to keep Brittany and Miguel, so you went for option 3, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was dead man. I can't believe, honestly, I got away at 7, 6, 5, and 4 is a different story, but I can't believe these 3 rounds that I actually survived them. If I'm being honest, I went into each of them fully expecting to go home.
I think that thanks to the social game I played during the game is why I got saved during these rounds. Because if I did not do that, I would have been gone.
I knew you were with me. So I knew you and I needed to stick together. And I'm glad you felt the same way, because that's what got us to the end.
And that's why I wanted to vote out Alex so bad, because I knew you guys were together, and I was like, no, I want Miguel to be my number 1.
It happened so naturally with you and me, with me and Miguel. We never really talked like, hey, you and me till the end.
Yeah,
but
right.
Once not the bounty round, but the tether round, she goes, you're with Miguel. And I go, fuck yeah, that's what I replied. I was like, oh, Miguel's my boy. I need to ride this.
And then we were in a room and we were like, okay.
Yeah, it was you, me, Kelly, and Audrey for the final 4, but then we quickly turned on Audrey. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
Kelly, I wish so bad we could have coordinated, because if you and I had been in sync, because my plan was just like, well, I guess we couldn't have got in sync because I wanted Miguel. Because in my head, it was Miguel here, then Brendan, and then you, me, and Renee and Alex are final 4, and it's a easy vote. We vote out Alex at 4, of course, and then we just see who he drives.
I knew I couldn't be at the end with 3 girls, though. In all honesty, I knew that was my kiss of death, and so
it wouldn't have even been about that, though. Like you would.
Yeah. I just knew you guys were tight. No, nothing, not gender related. I just knew you 3 in particular were tight. So I'm sorry for labeling it as you.
That's okay. That's okay. I just was saying, like, it just you. I needed you in the fight as someone who went out at 5th because I was like the standout biggest target. I was just. In another game, I was just so set on like bringing Alex.
That's the problem. Like I was the opposite. I just wanted Alex gone. Like I was like, Alex needs to go.
And
like,
that's why I could tell you were catching on to that, Kelly, because at first I felt like you and I were good, but then I slowly was like, oh, I don't think she's with me anymore. But then I forgot about that, honestly, because I was so caught up in other things. And then that was why when we got to these rounds, I was like, oh my God, Kelly's going to beat me. And so this round was great that Miguel and Brittany started fighting. You tried to get me out this round, but that was already entrenched.
Yeah, it was
not fighting, but debating merits.
Yeah.
I sat back. I was like this. I was ready to go at final 6, and then Brittany's like, I still think we should go for Miguel, and I was like, oh, okay.
I am curious. It sounds like everyone they had a separate 4 where I guess I would have been 5, but no one ever mentioned getting me out here. I'm just kind of
you were part of my 4.
I feel like I was. I just wasn't. Yeah. Sorry.
And then Brendan and I, we talked in the beginning of the game. So we were just super cool with it.
Yeah, absolutely. There was the same way. I mean, Kelly was very vocal about it, and Brittany, I think that stuff about Brendan, no, that was generated, right? Like he never was coming from me. I
completely made that up. I didn't even talk to him.
Great job. Obviously it worked. There was a time when I was in a room with James and Miguel, and you hopped in and hopped out, and I was like, Brittany just said final 2 with me, but then didn't want to hang in this small room with people I like. So I was like, something's going on here.
I was probably
No.
looking for someone.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, again, it's just the perception in these moments, and like I was still with Miguel and James, and I was just like, okay, these people, like, you just don't have that interaction with. And at the end of the game, I just never really considered Miguel was always going to be kept along for me. Like it
was such a good feeling, like the whole thing, and I felt that good vibe with a lot of people, and I think this cast was really, really amazing.
Yeah, it was a good group. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Brittany, any final thoughts before you head out here?
No, I had a great I had a blast. I had a blast playing with you guys. Nothing personal to anybody. I hope nobody takes anything I did personal. I know I was maybe a little snaky, but it's just a game. And I love you guys. I love the game, and I hope we can chat soon.
We're snakes in the game. Just kidding.
Do what? Oh, Alex, the second I saw your video, I was like, he is me, and I'm taking him to the end.
Yes, and I was hoping it would attract some people like that. So yes, that's what I wanted.
That's what I wanted to. Yep. I
love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I knew it was going to be controversial. I just didn't. I didn't think we'd be talking about it at the final 6. Honestly. Well, I also didn't think I'd be at the final 6.
Yes, you were a very deserving winner. I'm very
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, TR.
Thank you, Brittany.
Bye,
Everyone
Brittany.
follow Brittany, and Brittany, I'm sure we'll see you on the podcast again real soon.
Bye.
Bye. So after Brittany left, of course, that left us with the final 5. The final 12 days of Christmas round for safety, where 2 people could get safety.
And only one did.
Only one did, and this guy right here.
Oh my god, that was crazy.
That killed me though. I honestly kind of, because in the past it's always been write down your answers, and I kind of hated that it was a type thing because my internet was so slow. I had the right answer, but then that didn't give me a chance. And
I was ready for the true or false or the
like something, or at least to write it down, because that internet, that was what kind of screamed me. And good on Miguel. And obviously, I didn't go out.
I know. I felt like I would have been gone.
This is my favorite. I've watched this clip so many times that we're about to talk about at the final 5.
Oh my god, we can.
It is my favorite thing when. Sorry, I'm probably skipping ahead just a little bit, but it makes me giggle so much. Brendan stops the whole conversation. He's like, "Okay, listen." He goes, "Kelly, we started in a room together. Everyone likes you," and you go, "Brendan, if you're saying you're voting me out right now, fuck you." Like you for a moment think he's like backing you up, and then the wheels start. It like clicks. You're like, "Oh my god, he's talking about voting me out."
Yeah.
It was the funny. I cannot, and that was the moment
like
I was
car
like,
crash. That like sentence to me, I was like, this is not happening to me right now.
And then she was like, "Fuck you."
I wasn't actually that mad. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it was
I was a
hilarious.
little mad at the time, but it's fine. Thanks, Connor. Love you, bae.
Thank you.
But I voted for Renee because I didn't want Kelly out, but I know everyone was gonna vote Kelly, so I was like, shit, like I can't do anything, but I was gonna stay loyal, so I did what I had to do, and I voted for Renee.
So I'd like to. I got a lot of shit for my move here, and I get it. And I went super aggro, which I guess was surprising to people. I told my family in real life that I like kind of yelled at people, and no one was surprised, but everyone online was very surprised.
That's how my family talks to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Christmas, it's family Christmas.
Yeah,
exactly. So just my logic behind it, whether right or wrong, obviously was wrong because Alex ended up winning. But the way Kelly was defending Miguel so hard in the past couple rounds, I'm like, they are locked in. And I honestly would have gone for Miguel, but Miguel was safe. So
exactly. I
thought
was gonna be screwed.
And I'm like, yeah, of course we could go for Alex, but then I'm like, this final 4, I have no shot with these guys. I only had a shot with Alex being the big juicy target there at final 4. So he needed to be there for me to have a chance to get there. So that was why like I said, it would have gone for Miguel, but he was safe, so I had to go in for Kelly, and I didn't think anyone would vote for Kelly, and that's why I went so hard, and I pulled out the fact that she had won before, which I really didn't intend to use it unless I needed it. That's why I didn't spread it around or say anything else about it, or even say that she had played before. I didn't say anything about it. But I didn't think I had a chance with Alex being out. I thought that leveled the playing field a little more. I thought Kelly might have been a target, but I wasn't sure, and it was too uneven where I knew with Alex there, I felt confident, Miguel, that everyone would have obviously voted him out because it was that So that was why I did it. And again, it was wrong. He won, but that was why I did it.
Yeah, this is also my mistake round. As I'm sitting there ready to vote, I mean, Kelly, you were 1,000% right. I tried to do my little glass clink and say, like, obviously, Alex, great job. But you're out.
What through? Bro, you started off the round going, good job, Alex, but this is as far as you go. And I was like, what?
Absolutely, because you deserve it. And as I'm sitting there waiting to vote, I thought it was just going to be Kelly and I, because there was never the confirmation from anyone else that they were willing to vote Alex, and just didn't make the calculation that go for 2-1 or something there. I believed everyone was voting for Kelly, and you were 1,000% right, Kelly. That's the game at the end. Yeah,
100% right, and that was why I needed to discredit you. If you guys noticed, these last couple rounds, I'm throwing out weird lies. I called myself a goat. I was like,
yeah, but I called you on that shit. I said, I'm like,
that was none of us were having any of that.
I said what I needed to say, guys. I'm sorry.
I just knew like we were letting Alex skate by for so long, and I was like, my issue and why I was so like, what the fuck, was because I'm like, logically, it makes the most sense that we need to get rid of Alex right now. Like, he is so good. He's been playing so aggressively, and like, it's too risky to the RHAP mini chat did freak out. It's too risky to let him get to 4, because I feel like 4. Like, things can just go wrong really easily. You know what I mean? And like, Miguel and Alex were so locked in together, and I realized that. I was like, they're probably gonna take each other. So that was my thing. The only part of the reason why I got so like, was because like, I figured that me winning, if it was gonna come up, I assumed it would come up like way at the beginning to be like, oh, Kelly already won. Like, let's just vote her out pre-jury or something. So that's why I was so like, what the heck? When Renee said it, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why are you bringing this up now? One, that was a different game. Like, I played completely different this time versus last time. So I was like, what does it matter if I won one time at the final 5? Like, I figured it would matter more back at like the beginning when there was 22 people to be like,
I knew it would, because no one would take out a woman. No one would have taken out a woman that early. Not with such a small thing. I know, like I said, it was the best chance I had. It was the only it was the best chance I had. Because I didn't have a chance against you.
I didn't see anyone else besides you or me getting voted out at Final 5, and so my whole game, if I'm going home, it's got to be someone else. So, I was saying that you were talking crazy and it was silly, but I mean, Brendan's right. You were 100% correct. I just needed to discredit it however I could.
I knew that both of us weren't going to make it to Final 2. I was like, there's no way Alex and I both make it, and I got a kamikaze mission right now.
In between round, like when you called me out when Brittany and Miguel were fighting and the start of this round, I was like, how is Kelly still here? She is playing amazing. Like, in that long break, it really set in. I was like, oh my God. And then you came for me right away, and I was like, this is easy. This is the only other target.
But that's the thing. In Final 5, the 2 winners were Kelly or Alex. One of you needed to go. There was no doubt about that. For me, Brendan or Miguel to have a shot, one of you needed to go. And I really thought in that Final 4, and Brendan and Miguel, I don't know what you would have done if Alex had gone and then it was us 4. I don't know where you would have voted, but it should have.
It was going to be. Wow. I think I would have voted for Renee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I made the decision I needed to make, because I knew that, because you had to vote for Alex there, and I knew Brendan would have done it, and I thought, Miguel, you would have too. But I understand why you didn't. He did a great job, which we can talk at that point. But that was why my best shot, I left it all out on the table, and I'm sorry, Kelly, that it was you. I really am. But
okay.
I did what I thought I had to do.
You played awesome.
I was just mad because I'm like, the private minis aren't canon. Why does it matter?
My brother won a private mini. I know how legit. It's the same thing as this, just maybe with my brother's had it had less people watching, but those private minis are legit as hell.
Yeah,
I would say sometimes the private minis are almost harder because the casts
Yeah.
are known in advance and there's so much pre-gaming.
So
we didn't pregame at all for ours, which it was actually like
that
very
you know of.
Yeah, that you know.
Well, I didn't pregame and I won.
I think it was pretty good. I don't think there was a lot of pregame.
Yeah. Though I know like a bunch of people had played together before, apparently. But anyways, I still had a lot of fun. Sorry, I was yelling and screaming.
No, made it
I'm sorry. I
great
went
time.
so
I love
hard.
you. My friends said that was their favorite part when you were on mute and you were like, "Suck a dick, you fucking."
Yeah.
They said that was their favorite part, was trying to decipher what you were saying.
I was like, I had a rough day yesterday. I was like crying like off and on all day. So I was like don't play Sequester if you're like already really emotional, like from the day. Like I was like, I'm gonna cry. Not actually, but
you greased the emotional wheels and let you go smooth through the game.
But congrats, all of us. I think our game was really fun. I had a great time playing. I really wanted to play a little more aggressively this time than I did the first time, which I think I achieved that. So
I think you played better this time than when you won, honestly.
I didn't get to see the RHAP mini, so I can't speak to that, but you were fantastic in this game. You really were a serious contender for, I mean, all of you were. People said it earlier in the chat, like this was a very, very, very strong jury, and so seldomly do we see like this many really, really good players in the end. It's usually a mix. There's some clear-cut winners. Sometimes it's boring enough where the winner is obvious from Final 9, and the rest are goats, you could say, as Alex tried to call himself. But you all should really be proud of yourself, Kelly. You played fantastically, and I hope you plan to play again soon.
Yes,
hopefully.
Maybe
you need a little break. I don't know. You played so close together. Would make sense.
It was like 2 weeks or something, but yeah, definitely a little break is needed. But maybe later, maybe in the summer, later on this summer.
There you go. So go follow Kelly down below. Stay in touch. Go show your support. And Kelly will see you when we see you.
Bye, Kelly.
Great game.
Yeah, great game.
This, of course, brought us to the penultimate round in the game, Drag Me to Hell round. We had a vote. There was a tie. There was a revote. The tie was not broken. It went to a wheel. And this was where, sadly, Renee, you were eliminated. You, of course, chose to drag Brendan with you, and that left Miguel and Alex as our final two. So let's get into all of that.
First of all, I want to address my decision. So first of all, I thought Brendan was actually gonna vote for me. So I was risking if I voted for myself, then I would have been out. So I was like, I can't vote for myself then. But then if I voted for Alex was gonna drag me. And then if I voted for Renee, you guys would have felt betrayed because I didn't vote for any of you guys.
You were in a very tough spot.
I
put you in that tough spot, my friend.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. It was such
you were in an artificially tough spot.
Yeah.
It was. Alex created all that pressure. I'm curious. Like, why did you think I was going to vote for you?
Because he said the whole time he was voting for Alex.
No, but in the end, when I was like, I might vote Brendan, he was like, so you're gonna vote me? And I was like, oh no, wait.
I don't know if you heard me the whole time, because Renee and Alex were being pretty vocal at like a certain point. I was like trying to just get you to say whatever you wanted to do. And I'm sure that came across. I'm like, that. I mean, insanity of those moments. But I also have to ask you again. Yeah.
What?
Were you really unmoved when I said I didn't play when I played the LOS for you? That didn't.
No, like I really was I really was moved, but it was just the thing that so I wanted to be top 2, and I know that for a fact that if any of you would have been gone, one of you would have dragged me. And
I know I was telling you I was going to drag you.
He wasn't going to drag you.
I wasn't going to drag you, Miguel.
I wasn't going to drag you either, Miguel.
So I would have been a tough time between the other two, but Miguel, I probably was not going to drag you.
Yeah.
So I know you were thinking about it though, Alex.
Well, no, I just knew I needed to tell you.
He needed to tell you that.
I knew you needed to think I was going to drag you.
So yeah, it was just, I felt like I was on a really, really tight spot. And I was like, okay, I need to make this a tie. And then when it came back, we had such little time to talk as well. So it was just so fast.
After the tie, I literally just, all I said was, you can have a 0% chance if you vote me.
Yeah. And I said he had a 0% chance anyways.
Yeah. I know, but in his mind, and I knew he would think go into the final 2, and taking the chance is better than him just dragging me. But I mean, I don't think there would have been a way for you to see through my bluff that I wasn't going to drag you. But I just knew I needed your vote, and I took advantage of our relationship in that you would believe what I said.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm curious about, Miguel, is like you felt so tight with Alex, and we were all like the last couple of rounds were really trying to throw him out. But now at Final Four, you were just so convinced immediately that he was actually going to drag you. And was it just the trust that you had already built that you believed him, or like
I saw his game, and I know what he had done before, and I was just like, okay, he's done it before. He can betray me right now.
Fair enough. You set the precedent.
I think that was a big part of my game, was setting precedents. Sorry, go ahead, Renee.
No, I was just going to say that I think the fact that he was telling you he was going to drag you meant he wasn't, because he lied the whole game. So if he was telling you he was going to, that's where I felt.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't really know
see through me.
I know. I get it, and I understand why you did it. It just, to me, it just seems so obvious. Like even if you were going to get dragged, because I risked the drag too. I was fighting hard to get him out.
Yeah,
and so with Brendan, like to me, it felt like worth the risk, because you might be out third, but you weren't. You know what I mean? He was gonna win. Like he was gonna win, and the only shot the three of us had were against one of the other one. And that was just my only point. But I get it. You were. I get it. I totally.
I think. Yeah, but I did say that afterwards that was one of my like worst plays ever. But I do stand by it afterwards, because I feel like in the end I might have never ended up being in the final two. So I'm happy with how it resulted. Even if I didn't win, it was really an honor to be there.
I was happy to have you there with me.
Speaking of honors, Renee, would you mind talking a little bit about your thought process there?
Yeah, so it was really tough. Like, it wasn't super obvious that it was going to be Brett. There was no chance I was dragging Alex. Zero chance. I said
when
that.
You said that, that was made my day. That made my day, Renee.
I am like the least bitter person, and I hate to see the Final Four drag end up being the best person. I was never going to do that. I'm not bitter. I'm out of the game. So I really wanted to look at who I thought played the best game. And it wasn't, and to me, looking in the Final Four, is I felt like, Brendan, I was defending you so much. I was the one that was Alex, and I didn't feel like you did, which I understand because I was doing it. You didn't need to, but that was why I went with you. But it was so close between you guys, and I really do feel bad. And I would have felt bad if it was Miguel too. I don't know.
I think we all played such a good game. I think we all had our different points, and we played different games, each and every one of us, and it was such a good top four.
This Final Four round is what made me fall in love with Sequester. It's so complicated. Complicated is the best word I can come up with. It's so intricate, and it's really hard to navigate. And I actually think I made a mistake by being the first person to throw out a name, but I figured I was the target anyways.
I think that was a good.
Well, yeah, I
guess
you're right. Yeah, I guess it worked the way that I needed it to. Yeah. But I think in general, the general strategy would be you don't want to throw out a name first here. And I did right out of the gate. And like 10, or maybe 10 minutes, there was not a 10-minute round. 30 seconds later, I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah, but I think that would have been stupid for anyone but the big target. The big target has to throw out a name and has to get in there and get somebody else in there. So if you had gone out, who would you have dragged, me or Brendan, or do you not know?
I really don't know, because I honestly was my whole game was very second by second what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about which of the three of you I was going to drag the first time, because I thought the first vote I was going home for sure. And so when it was a tie, I realized I wasn't going to go home, actually. Yeah. I was pretty sure I could convince Miguel to stick with me. Yeah. And so I stopped thinking about. So I would not have dragged Miguel, just because, like you said, like it was clearly a lie. I felt like it was. Miguel was my buddy. I respected his game. I wanted him in the final too. But you both played such great games too that it's so tough to say.
Right?
Different games.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
I don't have a good answer for you, honestly, because I wasn't after the tie. I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I was just curious. I was curious if you happened to know, but
Yeah, no. My whole game was very. There's one. Someone sent me a clip on Twitch where I'm in a room alone, and I'm like, I gotta go bounce around, and I was like, actually, slow down for a second, take a breath. You're being crazy right now, and I was safe that round. And someone on Twitter pointed this out to me is like the rounds I was safe. I didn't relax. I actually still played like. I played like I was going to be in trouble next round.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that was really crucial because I did have safety a decent amount of times, but I always made sure there was something in the works that was going to happen next.
And Brandon, would have you dragged Alex?
It would have been Alex or Renee. I mean, I would have been very interested in the arguments, and I mean, like, I think that's just like a fun part of the game that like, you know, people can respond a little bit. And I think where you go first. Like, I thought if Renee had been open to dragging Alex, so I went for him hard. I thought maybe made a decent argument, and then like had to quickly pivot to Miguel.
I am sorry. I should have said at the beginning that I wasn't dragging Alex, and I do apologize about that because I knew I wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, I mean that's the game, and if I could do it again, I think I would say like if you want the two biggest strategic players, you should let Alex and I go, and if you want the people who like played the most honest, you should let Miguel and I go. But like either way, I should be one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's just the way it goes. I thought it was an interesting moment, and like I think in the future, like maybe even being open to asking like that question if I had started by saying like. Like who else would you think of, or like, are you open? Like that changes it. You just do what you can there.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to tell Brent, who's typing in the chat. I did say it was my worst move by far, but I did stand by it because how it played out. Because I did stay and I finished in the top 2. I do have my regrets. But in the end, I can't go back in time and change things. So,
and I think that was my mistake. Is I was thinking from a winning point of view where you would have preferred getting second than third, and I was looking at it as you want to be first no matter what, and that was my mistake, probably not realizing. And I should have, and someone brought it up to me later, is I should have threatened you with the drag too, because it would have been me out on a wheel, and I should have threatened you at that point. And I didn't think of it because I thought it was just so obvious and that was my mistake.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, to your credit, Renee, of like not being bitter in that moment of going on the wheel. You said that was like the second time you got wheeled out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been such an easy argument, and I wasn't just like, "Hey, Miguel just wheeled you out again." When you were like, "Obviously, let's get Alex." That's an easy one. And to your credit, you were looking at it from like what you thought was a better, more interesting final 2, and that's probably hard to do in that moment.
Yeah, I really
not easy. I'm
sure.
Because
who I liked and who I felt better about. I mean, honestly, I felt like a good connection with you, Brendan. And even though it was late in the game, I felt a good connection. And so I was trying so hard to take my personal feelings. Nothing against you, Miguel. I just felt more connected to Brendan.
No, it's okay.
So that would have been personal. So I was trying so hard to take my personal feelings out of it and really look at it. Because I really did like you a lot when we got together.
Sometimes you take the personal out too much, and then you drag me out. What the heck?
I know.
No. It really was great. And I have to say, like, to the community, and especially, I don't know if like Audrey and the mods, like, I just think this is such an impressive thing that people have built. And the fact that it's so well produced, the fact that it happens live. I mean, I just think this thing is like such a technical feat. And so I just like, thanks for being a part of it. And I think this is really cool. I hope this gets all the support, and people should be as vocal as possible, because this is like a really cool thing and can be a very positive community. And it's like gives a lot more people, like, we're having the chance to talk about this and play in a way that like the CBS shows we might not necessarily get to do that all together. And it reaches more people.
Absolutely.
Brendan, no hard feelings though.
Oh no, I mean, you're all fun. I mean, and with fun, like I think if we played it all again, like you guys were people we could align with, and we all might get booted out first pre-jury. It's just the way it goes.
You guys, all of you right now. I will not betray you.
Okay, don't hold me to that, Alex. I don't know about that one. Miguel, Renee, let's talk.
I want to echo what Brendan said about the community. So in game, I mentioned that I thought people might hate me, and I said in my jury speech, I didn't think that was true, but I definitely thought there was a possibility that was true, if that makes sense. And afterwards, I thought I might get hate from the community. My lie about Brendan just kind of being a spastic, kind of making Kelly seem like she was a bit crazy at Final 5 when she was 100% like truthful. The response I've gotten from the community has been like nothing but love. It's been like very, very it's been heartwarming in all honesty. Because like I said, I expected to get some hate. I expected people to not enjoy kind of what I was bringing to it. I don't know. I was here to play from the beginning. I knew my goal was to win, and I set myself up with a big obstacle. And so I know I was playing aggressive, and a lot of people don't appreciate that. But the outpour from the community has really been touching. I can't state that enough. Everyone's been super complimentary of my game.
It's probably more fun to watch than play against, I'll be honest.
I believe it. I believe that.
We're kind of here in the home stretch. So after the elimination, after the dragging, that left us with the final two. Do we have any final thoughts on the final two, on the jury questions, on the game as we're wrapping the bow up on it? Anything else we might want to say here?
I just want to say thank you to the jury. Honestly, I didn't expect to win 7-0. I think Miguel played a great game. Like I said, Miguel's my homie. I'm glad we made it to the end. I was glad I was sitting there with him. We never even cemented it verbally, but we just picked up on it together. So I want to thank the jury, Miguel, cast crew. This was such an amazing experience for me. Not only was it a ton of fun, but like I said, the people reaching out to me, I gained 70 Twitter followers in half an hour last night. How's that possible? So
that's 100 times the amount of followers that Matt has.
But yeah, I just had an amazing time all around. I everything was top notch here.
Yeah, same here. I really loved this, and I really wanted to point out something that I saw in the community and people were talking about, is that they made a lot of comments because of my speech. English is not my first language, and a lot of people were talking about that, and people said I needed to go to school and a bunch of things. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that in all honesty, I am very proud of the Latin people and Hispanic people and all the people whose English is not their first language and are competing in this. Because after that, a lot of people felt very insecure and felt very sad to actually even be here. And a lot of people don't even want to be in final two because of that, because of speech. And all I wanted to say was I am very proud of the people who have been here, whose English was not their first language. I'm proud of Jarel, who was last week here and is also Puerto Rican. He's one of my best friends. And I just want to say that in the end, I know 2 languages. You probably know 1. So
exactly. Yeah, Miguel, you should be more proud. If anything, it's a testament to your social skills, because that is an obstacle that we didn't have to deal with. And in all honesty, it never played any mind. I never thought it was any sort of language barrier at all.
No.
I'm shocked to hear that anyone brought that up.
Yeah,
if anything, it's a testament to how well you are in your second language. You did very well.
I am heartbroken, and I'm so fucking angry at anybody who said that, and that's bullshit, and that's not representative of the Sequester community at large. That is not what most of us believe, and that is certainly not what Audrey fucking supports, and that's bullshit, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Miguel, obvious. I didn't even notice that was the case. So I hope that's something you're self-conscious about. But even more importantly, it's about your heart. Everyone said that they just took such a shine to you. This game is a social game, and we all connected with you. And however we communicated, that was super effective. And I just got to say, people on the internet, they're going to say stuff like that. I hope that doesn't get to you, because it's ridiculous, it's inappropriate, and it's wrong. I mean, I hope you can turn that stuff off, because
it's inaccurate.
You were great.
Yeah,
they're not correct.
Yeah, it's not even about me per se, because I really don't give a fuck. But but I wanted to address it for the people that are coming next, so they don't feel scared about this, because they are gonna get criticized by other people, and that is not fair. That is not fair for anyone.
Not at all.
And to name it directly, that's just a form of subtle racism. That's what you're talking about. Exactly. We're talking around it. I just feel like it's okay to say that's exactly what that is. And Miguel, you rock, and it was fun to play with you. And I just hope that stuff doesn't get you down, because that is unfortunately what people are going to hold. But we as a community can say that's not what we're gonna do and what we're gonna say.
While we're on the topic of praise on Miguel, I was astonished to find out you were 19. You hear yourself as much older. I couldn't believe that, honestly.
But I love Yarel. I love Amneris. Dylan, thank you so much. He was part of this too. He was part of my whole construction. And I want to thank this cast as well. I thought everyone was very beautiful and they were all so nice. And I wanted to play with all of you. I wish all of us could have won. But just, I wanted to address that. I really like this community and I don't want it to get hate because of this. And I don't want it to become something disgusting like it is.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Completely agreed. And I thank you for talking about that. It's something that I've never even considered him as being like a white man. I that's my privilege, is that I don't have to think about that kind of thing. And it's unfortunate that, you as someone who were able to defy all the odds and defy all of the bits of randomness and twists and votes, were able to still make it this far. And that's what people are going to knock you down for. It's completely uncalled for. And Renee is absolutely right that the Sequester community as a whole does not feel that way, and anyone who does is a grubby little troll, and they can fuck off. But thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Alex. You all were a fantastic Final Four. You were fantastic in this game. I really, really hope that we see all of you playing again soon. I mean, Alex, of course, you're going to be in Winners at War 2, where you have your work cut out for you.
We'll see. We'll see. I got a few more tricks up my sleeve. I don't want to give them all away, but
we'll be rooting for you.
I come to play every time I play.
Is telling the truth one of them?
Not one of my cards.
I want to show your Twitters. You want to take a brief moment to talk about them? And if you have any final thoughts before we kind of head out here, please, by all means, let them out. Miguel, you want to start us out?
Yeah, thank you all for the support you've been giving me. It's amazing. You can follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram. I do love this community. I love this game. I love working with you. And this is just amazing. It's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing, just an amazing dream. Like this was unbelievable and super uncalled for. I never thought I was gonna end up here, and little less in the final two. So I'm just very thankful for everything.
You should be very proud of yourself. Go follow Miguel on Twitter. Go follow him on Instagram. Keep in touch. Show your support, please. Renee, you up next.
Yes, you can get me on Twitter at Jackie Stacky. I don't tweet too much. I'm usually on my @DraftSequester profile, which of course TR has me hooked up right there. You can come. We play games. You draft, like, it's kind of like fantasy football for Sequester. So you draft 8 people. You pick your team. You get points. You lose points. All that stuff, and then you watch the leaderboard as it goes on in real time with the game. So we have a lot of fun there. And I just want to say I had such a great time. I know I said a while ago I was retired from playing. But I kind of got
that wasn't true, Renee.
I'm glad I came back. I needed to take the couple months off. TR and I played together once, actually.
We played in an All-Stars game.
Yeah,
together.
we did.
I was part of the vote against you, and I'm sorry.
Yes, he did. He voted me out. He's a bitter bitch. No.
Okay.
But I still love him. No. And yeah, it was just so much fun. I'm glad I did it, and I just love you guys so much. And yeah, just thanks. I love the Sequester community too. It's great.
Thank you, Renee. Brendan, how about you?
I have a very nerdy Twitter and mostly tweet about Congress, if that's of interest to you. But I'm always down for new friends, and met a lot of good people in the game. So I'm happy to make more friends in this community. I'm always probably not going to be the most active member. I am one of the people who's got still a busy job, unfortunately, during the summer. But everyone I met was great, and I just think this community could be a real force for good, and especially as we're talking about social problems and how they kind of infect every part of our lives. I think like doing little things like making sure a community like this that's totally disparate thinks about things like making sure everybody votes. Like that's a great way, especially with an age range of like younger people who typically don't do things like vote. I think we can have a lot of good impact while still playing this fun game, and we can like be bitter with each other, and backstab each other. But like, hopefully, the community itself can do some good.
Absolutely, 100%. And we said it earlier. You said it just now. Again, please vote this November. Tell your friends, tell your family, do as much as you can to make sure that people
and make a plan. It makes a huge difference if you think through what you're going to do and ask other people to think through. That's shown to make a big difference.
Alex, our winner here. Do you want to round us out?
I love this cast. I feel like a jerk because I robbed them all of this win. I feel like they were all way more deserving than me. I due to my own fault of my video, had to scheme my way through every round, and I made some lies about some good people, betrayed some very good people as well. I'm very honored no one took it personally, because nothing I did was personal. I came here to win, and I'm still just genuinely shocked that I did. It really has not fully sunk in. Like I said, anyone in this cast could have won, and it would have been a great season as well. So I'm really honored that people enjoyed our mini. I'm a little confused. I saw online a bunch of people saying that the pre-jury was boring, but hell, that was when I was most frantic.
Hot potato, that was insane.
When I saw that tweet, I was like, what? I chilled after jury phase a little. So I had a great time. This community has been fun. People do not bring any, like I said, I was expecting some hate and got none. So to hear that Miguel got some really breaks my heart. People practice kindness, vote like Brendan said. A lot of great people in this community. Let's use our minds and our souls for some good.
Thank you, Alex.
Also, keep donating and signing petitions for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes,
absolutely,
100%,
absolutely.
Thank you for bringing that up. I do have on my Twitter, I can't think of the link at the top of my head right now. It's this link right here. I'll drop it in the chat. I also have it pinned on my Twitter. You can find that. It's been a great resource for where to donate, where to sign, where to protest, any possible way that you could think of showing your support and helping. That's the way to do it. So be sure to hit up that link. I just dropped it in the chat. So there you go. And continue to show support, because even though Black Lives Matter might not be trending, doesn't mean Black Lives don't matter still. So thank you again, Final Four. Fantastic job. Seriously, I mean, people were saying this was one of the best minis we've had this season, so you all should be very proud. You did a really, really great job, and I personally hope to see each and every one of you playing again soon, other than, of course, Alex in Winners of War 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough one, so we'll see how that goes.
Let the pre-gaming begin.
No comment. I won't mention anything about anything. No pre-gaming.
They've all hit him up already, I'm sure.
No comment.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I'm going to kick you all backstage. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to leave. I'm just going to be kind of rambling for a couple minutes, wrapping things up. Thank you again for taking the time to be here with us.
Yes.
We're going for almost 3.5 hours now, so it's quite the endeavor. And Brendan, of course, thanks for joining us for the jury phase. I'm glad we were able to get you in there. And really means a lot that you all took the time to come spend with us and discuss your awesome game.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I gotta get going though, guys. I can't.
Wait. Well, and then there was one. It's just me. Wow. I know I'm not as exciting as the final 9 that we had here, but you're stuck with me. Now, of course, there is a mini going on right now. We are about 2 hours in. I have no clue where they are in the status of the mini. They could be halfway through. They could be 1 round through, depending on how long that took. No, of course not. They'll probably be about halfway through, probably around the jury phase, I would imagine, by this point, if not a couple rounds into it. So go check that out. It is the War of the Worlds International Mini. So we have players from different countries, different areas of the world, not just America and Canada, who will be duking it out. They're already duking it out. We've been missing it. What are you all doing? I don't know. But thank you for those of you who did stick around and watch us. We had a much larger group at the top before the mini started, and dropped down a little bit, but since then it's been pretty consistent, except for the 4 that just left just now. So thank you guys. We really appreciate it, of course. If you are interested in watching Sequester, let me pull up a quick little screenshot for you, and I think I finally am going to have it updated, although it's so tiny you might not even be able to see it. But let's see here. I have sequesteraccess.com/live feed. It should be loading in any second now. Here we are. There we go. I didn't have an updated screenshot with the leaderboard for the longest time, but here it is. I literally took this during this mini, so it's up to date, or during the after show, I should say. So it's as up to date as you can get as of this podcast. But sequesteraccess.com, you can watch via the live feed tab right there. There's videos on how to watch the game right there. The YouTube main stream for Audrey's hosting. Then you have the rooms right there. Oh, you know what I'm doing. And then, of course, our list of the winners right there. Our very own correspondent, Jacob Jones, in pink, is the only currently 2-time mini winner. Hopefully, I would imagine he'll be defending his title in Winners at War 2, but I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily confirmed 100%, so don't quote me on that. But that's where you can do it to watch the game. Of course, we have the mini going on right now. I believe there's a mini tomorrow. I believe Renee said Renee, you're backstage still tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow is the last hurrah one. So the people who usually work weekends or so can't play minis and the moving on. So they're doing like one last hurrah for it now that the quarantine's ending for some people.
Fantastic. And you said is it 100% that you're going to be doing a draft for tomorrow? Or
yes, because I missed it today and then obviously yesterday. So I will be doing one tomorrow.
That's very fair, Renee. Thank you very much. Renee, I'm going to kick you again. But thank you, Renee, for that. So we have the mini going on right now. We have the mini tomorrow. You can check that out. We also will have the Broadway private mini on Thursday. We'll have our second of 5 All-Star minis on Friday. Another patron mini on Saturday. I think that's it for now. I don't know. There's more. There's definitely more. I probably am missing some in the coming days after that. It's on our personal calendar that the Podcaster team uses, so I'll refer to that and find out. I do want to announce a couple of things. So let's see here. We're going live again tomorrow, not including the stream, which is happening right now. We've been streaming simultaneously. I don't want to blow your mind here, but Louis and some fantastic correspondents have been on Twitch for the last 2.5 hours in tandem with us, providing commentary for the international mini right now. So you can still hop over. You can still catch that. I think Liquidated might have it in the multi-viewer. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But if he does, you probably can watch the game there too via Liquidated's multi-viewer, which usually has the Podquester commentary in it as well. Again, don't quote me on that. But sequester.access.com/live feed. If you want to show your support for Audrey for the game that we all know and love, you can do so at Sequester Access Patreon. This is where you can see where my lighting issues are with my green screen. But for as little as $3 a month, you yourself could be playing in a mini, and then we could be talking to you about your game. Wouldn't that be fun? I'm having fun already just thinking about it. So show your support that way. Of course, you can donate more if you feel so inclined, if you're able to. You can donate more than 10 if you're really feeling bougie, you really want to help out and show your support. So be sure to do that. Few things to announce. We did announce our schedule. Let me pull it up here. We did announce our schedule the other day. So we have plenty of streams coming your way. Let me pull it up right here. Here we go. So yes, there we are. We have, of course, yesterday was the commentary. You're watching the after show. The international mini commentary that's live right now. We have, as the ticker is saying down below, we have our Podquester wrestling stream. I couldn't tell you the logistics of what that's going to be. I'm not necessarily a wrestling fan. Nothing against it. I just don't watch it. But maybe after tomorrow's stream, I'll be converted. I'll change my tune. So I believe Louis and Muna, I think, and a bunch of other wrestling fans in the community are going to be on to talk about wrestling. So that will be fun. Check that out. We'll have Shattered episode 4, our watch party on Tuesday. So that will be a real hoot. If you don't know what Shattered is, you can go watch our first 3 episode watch parties on our YouTube channel. Shattered was a 2004 British reality competition sleep experiment show where they put like 10 people in a house together, and they tried to see who could go the longest without sleeping over the course of like 8 days. There's weird challenges. People kind of start to hallucinate after a while.
It's quite the show. So join us for episode 4 of our watch party. I would encourage you to watch the other ones first if you can, but if not, I'm not gonna come for you. We have the Broadway mini on Thursday. As I said, we will be doing live commentary for that. I believe Sharifa will be leading that. Don't quote me on that. I think it's her. And then of course some theater-loving fans in the community to provide their commentary as well. We should be doing an All-Stars mini draft on Friday before the actual All-Stars mini. Of course, we are at the mercy of Audrey releasing the cast, and since there was a lot of divisive opinions on the pre-gaming situation and the cast reveal situation from the last All-Star mini, I have no clue if she's planning on releasing it the same amount of time before or the day of maybe. So that All-Stars mini draft could very well be canceled if she doesn't announce the cast. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to assume the cast will still be announced, so I'm going to assume we'll still be doing the draft. So there you go, Friday. And then, of course, later on in the night on Friday, we'll be doing the All-Star live commentary, followed by what we did for this past All-Star mini. We're trying something out for all of our All-Star minis this week, or this month, I should say, where we do our after show, a truncated version, not as long, not as in-depth as maybe this kind of round-to-round version that we do usually the day after, but we'll be doing them after on the commentary, bringing in as many people as we can to kind of have a free form after show discussion while it's still fresh. So be sure to tune into that. Not currently on the schedule, but you know the drill. We'll still be doing commentary the following night for the patron mini. We'll do an after show on Sunday for it. If there's anything else coming up after that, that will be announced later on in the week when we post our next week's schedule. So check all those out. I meant to mention this last night when I was on the commentary and there was like 300 people watching, and I totally forgot. And now I'm stuck doing it for the only 22 people watching still left. Thank you, by the way, to the 22 people still watching. I appreciate you. But I am organizing a private mini myself. It is going to be called the Imposter Mini. I am a big fan of characters and acting and performances. I'm a showman at heart, you know. And so this mini is to encourage you all to play as another player from the community. So if there's another player that you really look up to or you love or you have a really good impression of that you've been working on, please send me an audition. I'll pull up my social media here. You can send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram. There's no DMs on Byte yet, unfortunately, but do download Byte and check out Byte if you like and miss Vine and you don't want to support TikTok because it censors Black Lives Matter hashtags and people of color and marginalized people and ugly people. Then go download Byte. Send me a DM. Send me an email if you want, trconradi@gmail.com with like a 30 to 45 second audition of yourself acting like another player in the community. Please be respectful. We're not trying to go to necessarily for offensive impersonations. I would say definitely no stereotypes, racial or otherwise. So keep that in mind. But good-hearted fun impressions, funny impressions, again, as long as they're not too disrespectful. Send those my way. I don't have a date for it yet because I haven't gotten a crazy amount of submissions for it yet. But that just means that when I do finally have the cast filled for it, it's going to feel all the sweeter. I can't wait. So send me some information if you're interested in playing in the Imposter Mini. I've already gotten 1 or 2 submissions that are pretty good. So I'm hoping that I don't have to make those people wait too long to be able to actually put those into effect. I want to give a shout out to our moderator, Will from America for our theme song. You heard it at the beginning. You'll hear a little bit of it again at the end. Thank you, Will from America. He, of course, is the very talented composer that does all of the music for Sequester. So if you like the music you hear during the eliminations, during the voting, during the pre-show video roll, then go support Will from America. He's very, very, very reasonably priced and very, very, very talented. So you'll get a lot of bang for your buck there. Now, thank you to our moderators here. We have Kevin, we have Marcus, we have Walt, and we have Henry. Walt technically did not moderate today. And that's not because he's slacking off. No, that's because he's currently playing in the International War of the Worlds mini right now. As I say that, he very well could have been eliminated. I don't know. Again, I don't know the status of anything going on, but from the little baby bit of DMs that I was seeing, it seemed like he was doing well. So good on you, Walt. You're making us proud. We of course love and can't wait for you to hopefully secure your win.
You can follow us on Twitch. On our Twitch, that's where we do most of our commentaries. We've also been starting to do more of our non-commentary streams there too, so we'll probably see a wrestling stream there tomorrow. Last thing I want to announce, now that we only have 19 people left, I'm such a genius. We will be doing, if you didn't see Ryan Taylor, I believe that's his last name, winner Ryan from this season who won. He was the one who reversed the drag from Geneva and thus changed the way of the game moving forward. He did a pet quester the other day on his Twitter. He took some pets from people in the Sequester community, and he put them into a Brant Steel simulator to see who would be on top. Now, for whatever reason, I was in that cast as well. It was 19 animals and one me, and I'm not bitter about the fact that I didn't win and only got one jury vote, even though I made it to the end with the most immunity wins, most challenge wins. I found an LOS that, sure, I used it on a dog that didn't have any votes coming his way, but I was trying to curry favor for the jury vote, you know? And I had the least amount of elimination votes throughout the entirety of the game. I think it was biased because it was a human versus animals. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. I'm pissed about it still. But I do want to announce that on Wednesday on our YouTube and I think our Twitch, we are going to be doing Pet Quester 2. That's right. We'll have Ryan. We'll have our correspondent Jacob Sparks. And we'll have some of the pet owners who are playing on to kind of provide some fun little commentary. It's going to be a silly, goofy little stream. Sharifa's birthday is that day. So happy early birthday to Sharifa. Hopefully her dog can win. Bungie, I believe, is the name. And secure the rightful crown and make Sharifa proud on her birthday. So stay tuned for all of that. Yeah, thank you, Henry. I could not agree more. Hopefully I get brought back for a Pet Quester All-Stars. I don't know. Time will tell. That's about it for my talking. I'm going to shut the hell up now. If you somehow don't follow the show on Twitter, follow the show on Twitter. Check it out. That's where we post our schedules. That's where we usually announce when we're live, and we try to, do that kind of shit. So follow the show there. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for following. If you're on YouTube right now, which I would imagine you are if you're still watching this, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us out. Helps us push our content out there more onto the YouTube algorithm and bring in new fun fans and viewers, which hopefully can then equate to new Patreon members for Sequester, which then equates into new players. So you really could be seeing bringing in the next best all-star into the community just by hitting that like button. I don't know. I don't know. Could happen. So hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to, follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. You can subscribe to our Twitch too if you want to get custom emotes. I said last night we will be trying to add a couple of more. So far we only have 2. I do want to add more. I am blanking on which ones to add. So if you have any great, bright ideas on custom emotes that we can make that are themed to PodQuester, to our hosts, to Sequester in general, hit us up. Let us know. Thank you all. I'm done blathering. I swear I'm not going to swear again. I really do mean it. Thank you for helping us hit over 700 subscribers. We're at 722 now. Just a few short months ago, this podcast started with 0 subscribers. So it's very, very fun and cool and very exciting to see how much this has grown in such a short amount of time. And when I could not have done it without all of you. So thank you. Thank you again to the fantastic players from the Christmas in July mini. What a great theme. Santa Claus was on our commentary last night. Don't even get me started on that guy. I'm still, my blood is still boiling. Yeah. See you later. Bye.